Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to South Australia, specifically Port Adelaide. We're normally the home of Port Adelaide Rugby, but for today and later on in a couple of weeks, the home of the Australian Gridiron League. My name is Dave Webb. I will be joined in commentary, who will be taking you through play-by-play Hall of Fame, SA Hall of Fame broadcaster Phil Hurd. And Phil, beautiful day for it.
Absolutely glorious, David. In stark contrast to what the South Australian Sharks experienced the Melbourne monsoon last week, visiting today the New South Wales Wolfpack, they have fond memories of their trips to Adelaide. 29 years ago, they came for the first ever Australian Gridiron Interstate Tournament, the Grand Prix Challenge, which they won. They've won 2003, 2005, 2006 national championships here. Today, they just want to get their first win on the board after a heartbreaking 15-13 loss to the Raiders last week. The Sharks going down 46-0 to Victoria.
And we just came in at the back of the coin toss. New South Wales won that one, and they received. Did they defer or did they receive?
They have elected to receive. They'll be defending the Southern or City end. South Australia will be kicking off, defending the Port Adelaide end.
So the clock is underway, and we are ready to go. South Australia will kick us off. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back wherever you are in the world. Listen to the voice of Phil Hurd and take you through round 2 of the Australian Gridiron League.
James playing with a long kick, gets inside the end zone, picked up by New South Wales, Mitch Kirk. He's going to be down at about the 17-yard line. Loses the helmet in the process. So the Wolfpack of New South Wales in the light blue jerseys and pants, the wild assortment of club helmets, will have first use of the ball this afternoon.
It's got a Pro Bowl kind of feel to it, with the same uniforms with the different helmets. That's what we love about it.
It's very much Pro Bowl, Dave, but with a lot more at stake.
A lot more at stake. The chance to say that you are the national champions of Australia, it's a huge honour.
So it's James Rennie, number 11. As New South Wales set with 2 runners in the back and receivers split either side. And it will be New South Wales. This is pass across Jordan Nakora with the pass intended for John Mamu, but broken up, incomplete on the first play, and we've gone 10 seconds.
Good penetration from Damien Voller. Played a lot in the running back last week, but I know that he's going to key on this defensive line tonight. He's going to play defensive tackle today, and he got good penetration, put a lot of pressure on the QB. Probably forced him to throw a little bit earlier than he wanted to. Good coverage in that backfield as well.
Yeah, interesting New South Wales passing on first downs. Last week against the Raiders of Western Australia, pretty much wanted to run the ball, only passing when they had to. They've come out throwing to start it off. 2nd down and 10, 13-yard line. And that was more a little bit to be expected. A running play met at the line of scrimmage. Malmar on the carry.
I was going to say it was a fullback dive, but they're both big guys back there. It's hard to tell which one will be your fullback, which one will be your running back. Voller with the tackle, again, starting to put his stamp on this game early, which is understandable. He was MVP in South Australia for the year, mainly as his running back, over 1,000 yards for the year.
But as we know in a local club, Australian Gridiron, a lot of players don't just play one position.
Nope.
They are very versatile. They go both ways. Big 3rd down coming up here. First 3rd down of the afternoon.
Or
and
you say
3rd
and 8, around 3rd and 8 at the moment. Looked like a little bit of movement early off the line, but it's been gone. And that one goes incomplete as well, Phil.
Yep, so New South Wales 3 and out, and that is exactly the start that the South Australian defence wanted. They gave up touchdowns on the first 5 Victorian possessions last week. Issue was Victoria just ran. South Australia struggled to tackle the huge Victorian running backs in those wet monsoonal conditions. But New South Wales, that they've come out throwing, which is an interesting way to start proceedings. Now they're in the punt formation, and we'll see what SA can do with the ball.
3 and out for your first series. Drew Aitken's going to be happy at that. More importantly, the defence from South Australia will be happy. Kind of football punt, kicks the bottom of it. South Australia happy just to let that one go.
New South Wales special teams, they did struggle a little bit last week. Gave up a safety on a punt snap that went over the head. A couple of big returns to the Western Australians, including the one that set up the winning field goal for the Raiders. So in the end, though, very good punt for WA, and it does set up South Australia deep in their own area. They'll start 1st and 10 from their own about 13-yard line.
So our first chance to see the South Australian offence, Michael Tedmanson.
5 receivers, no running backs.
We expect to see a lot of spread, a lot of empty backfield.
As that one is intended out there for Seb Burford, number 18 for the Sharks. But
Rookie of the Year in South Australia.
He was
Seb
Rookie of
Burford
the Year.
from the Eagles Football Club. University, I don't want to get it wrong. There's two. There's the University of Adelaide and Adelaide University.
It's Uni-SA.
Uni-SA Eagles, there we go. Because we also have the Adelaide University Razorbacks. So.
Correct.
Two
when they play the Brain Bowl. As again, South Australia back to pass. This time intended for Eagle Ian Nolte, incomplete. So we're going to have a lot of plays to call at this rate, Dave, if they're just going to throw the ball all afternoon, taking a few seconds off the clock each and every play.
That one just looked like one of the D linemen got the hand up and tipped it.
So New South Wales, can they get some pressure? So far, Tedmanson, I mean, they're short drops, they're quick passes. You don't need a lot of protection. So far, he seems to be getting it. Just finding open receiver. Again, the quick drop, the throw, and off target. That's intended for Andre Benjamin. So the Wolfpack defense holding strong. It's the Sharks that go 3 and out. As thus far, as you would expect in these kind of games, defense dominating early as the offense takes time to gel.
Just feel that it might be a little bit of adrenaline going on in both QBs at the moment. Just failing to find targets at the moment, but we are early doors. And there's a flag on that play. So the umpires will get together and we'll talk through that one.
You can see it just sitting there in front of the 4th down marker on the far side of the field.
Our umpires today, I believe.
Our umpires today, I do. It's a false
so we've got a false start on the
against South Australia. Led by Victorian Paul Mercer, probably the most decorated official in Australia. He's the white cap, the referee. They brought the best crew out to Adelaide this afternoon. Scott Milway is the umpire, Kevin Chen centre judge, Matt Peterson linesman, Gordon Tuff line judge, Brian Curry back judge, Brian Cross side judge, and Martin Muck field judge. So it's getting used to having 8 officials out there and 40+ squads of players as well. Not what you usually see on a club level. Tedmanson, not just the quarterback, also the punter, puts that one away. Get some wind, get some bounce. This is going to go nicely for the Sharks. New South Wales slowly winning the game with territory. They'll start this one 1st and 10 from their own 27-yard line. And it'll be to see if New South Wales try a little bit of running game in their second series.
What's interesting, though, I mean, as a defense, you've got to think about it. When you see the QB line up as the punter as well, you know he's got an arm. So it's always going to make you second guess it. Maybe that's something that Drew Aitken and the Sharks can work on.
Yep, 6 plays combined, 1 run, 5 passes, New South Wales. 1st down, 10 yards to go. If you've just joined us, both teams going 3 and out in their opening series. This is week 2 of the Australian Gridiron League. You're looking live at Riverside Oval in Port Adelaide, home of Gridiron in South Australia. Now New South Wales will go up the middle as expected. And I think that's a man we're going to call a lot this afternoon from the West Sydney Pirates, John Mau, number 11. You've got Nakora there in quarterback. 2nd down, about 8 yards to go.
Big strong run, we see that now, and ran straight through that tackle hole.
Trent Hoey, one of the Shark tacklers. 2nd down, about 8 to go. There's a pass.
Finds the reception. Finds the reception. I'm so excited, Phil.
We probably should alternate. Maybe I'll call New South Wales, you call South Australia. But Rustum Todd with the reception and doesn't quite move the chains. We've got 3rd and 1 for New South Wales, better than the 3rd and 8 that they faced previously.
You watch that one. Those are the ones that the receivers are a little bit worried. He had to go and climb the ladder and get it, and you leave all sorts exposed at that point for the secondary of South Australia.
Yes, it's about focusing on the football, not what's about to collide with you. So can we see our first down of the contest? They'll go to ground. You'd have to expect that. Met at the line of scrimmage. This is going to be an interesting call for mine. Mau got the call. The side judge, I reckon that's first down, and that is the signal.
Yeah, the spot certainly looks like it's over there. The side judge, when we can find the list, he's a South Australian resident as well.
Brian, Brian Cross.
Matthew.
Side judge Brian Cross.
Matt Peterson.
Matt Peterson, linesman. Yep.
He's a South Australian boy. Gordon Tuft and Matt Peterson, I think, are the two South Australian officials.
Yeah, they're from all over. And, of course, there is another game of the Australian Gridiron League on this afternoon, starting at the same time. Huge matchup, defending champions Queensland Sun Devils and the Victorian Eagles. But it's 1st and 10, Wolfpack on the move. And there's a play in the backfield. John Perkov got there, tackling Chris Ravlich in the backfield. And that'll be a loss on the play. Something I don't think South Australia did all game last week. We say a week's a long time in football, Dave. Different state, very different travelling conditions for both sides, very different weather, and so far pretty tight contest.
Yeah, certainly, but we're seeing from both sides, well, more so from South Australia. So replay first down, sorry, I missed what he said then, but we definitely have a replay of first down.
It's going to be offside,
yeah,
South Australia.
Look like offside, so they'll have a reduced one, so it'll be 1st and 5.
So that explains, of course, why there was a tackle in the backfield.
It's easy when you start in the backfield, isn't it?
It is very easy when you start in the backfield.
We are seeing some penetration from that South Australian defensive line.
And this time met at the line of scrimmage on this occasion. And I think this was the previous runner, Godfried Argeman. He's got good gain on that play, about 8 yards. Will bring up 2nd and very short.
Yards after contact, that's not something that the South Australian defensive coordinator will be happy with. They met him in a place where we would be okay, and then just kept rumbling on.
Did indeed. And that was textbook of how Victoria did it against South Australia last week. Those strong runs up the middle, make the first, second, often the third man miss. 2nd down and 1, almost right in front of your commentary crew, the Spacequake Sports team. Dave Webb, Phil Herden on the call this afternoon. From glorious Adelaide, beautiful blue day, 29 degrees. 2nd and 1, another first down, New South Wales. I wondered how long it was going to take before New South Wales tested the South Australian run defence. Ben Loudon, the runner on that occasion. They found the weak spot and they're utilising it to full effect.
Short yardage, the Wolfpack looked like they could be quite dangerous. I think initially we saw them get stuffed a couple of times, but they're now starting to make some decent yards. 3 or 4 yards are down. 2 of them, 3 of them, you've got your first down. So
South Australian territory. What makes this ground unique is it's not the full 100 yards. The midfield is at the 45, which if you're keeping stats at home will throw you out just a little bit. Wolfpack to the air. Open receiver with the catch, first down at the 20. Andrew Garley with the catch. The Sydney Uni line receiver, first down New South Wales, and Dave, they are in the red zone. Actually, no.
Acres and acres of space. As we watch the replay, I don't know whether we were playing zone coverage, but just beaten. Henry Olsen just beaten him, but not unfortunately. He's in acres and acres of space. Unfortunately for South Australia, he couldn't keep his feet. Otherwise, we could have been
very fortunate. It was an underthrown ball.
But he was in so much space that the underthrown ball was allowed.
That's right. If it was right on the money, that could well have been first Wolfpack touchdown. They're not in the red zone. It's 1st and 10 at the 22. About 3 minutes 40 left in the contest. They've gone to the air once, tip drilled and incomplete.
Oh, they're the ones that Brad Vajera would be dreaming of, those tip balls.
Well, I don't know if you saw the game. Talk about tip drills. New South Wales' first touchdown was about 70 yards. Quarterback threw it into a pack of 5 players. And there was a 6th player running towards the pack. It tipped up. He just ran straight through, caught it off to the end zone for the touchdown. And that was New South Wales up 7-0 early in the game last week against WA. I think from memory it was Akamaya who made the big catch. The other touchdown was actually on a long interception. So New South Wales haven't really put together a drive and scored from short yardage. Looking good here though. As it hands off to Simpson, he's off to the outer side, attracting a whole bunch of red coverage. And it took a lot of Sharks to bring down that Wolfpack runner.
The spot looks short, but you would think that the defensive coaching team from the Sharks would really want to stop the yards after contact, which is a major issue. The first contact really is way short of the first down, and then
a good 3 or 4 yards, you can see. And look, awesome camera work from the Spacequake sports team. It's almost like you're right on top of the play.
It is. We have
any
Dan,
closer, you'd need to register.
We've got Dan, who's up in our cherry picker. He's the cherry picker specialist. Dan Jones, our other camera operators, Nicola O'Farrell and Carl Swart, who are doing your other ones as well.
Third and very short. New South Wales eat these for breakfast. Quarterback fakes the handoff, keeps it heading for that corner, going for the cone, and we've got ourselves a Wolfpack touchdown. New South Wales are on the board. It's going to be an 11-yard run to the quarterback, Jordan Okora. Dave, talk us through the replay.
It's the danger, isn't it, with the two big runners, and almost looked a little bit like a blown play, and did well to get that ball over the pylon. For those of you who are new to the game, the ball has to cross the plane. Yep. Player doesn't necessarily need to. And as we all know from watching the NFL, that the plane of that goal line goes all around the world.
Oh, didn't we learn that on the last year's Super Bowl? No controversy here. New South Wales going for the extra point. If they kick it above the crossbar, it's worth 1 point. Aaron McAvoy, the kicker. Good snap, good hold, good kick. That is textbook.
Umpires adding to the
suspense.
The suspense of it. Just adding, they know they're on TV. They're loving it.
So after 2 3-and-outs, New South Wales get the ball. They march at about 67 yards. And the Wolfpack, as they did last week, take the early lead.
So just a little bit of a head fake on, I think it was Brad Vajero who was the last one. Just a little bit of a head fake, just planted his feet a little bit early. Now, probably very important to mention, I saw that you wrote it down, 29, 30 degrees today. Now, there is a little bit of cloud cover that's come over. It's cooled a little bit. But that's a tough day in those pads.
It is indeed. And it's, I mean, in some ways it could be easier. I don't think you're going to see a lot of players going both ways that they might do at club level. So in theory, they're going to get a rest. They're going to hydrate. Both these teams play the same type of seasons, August through until December, where they cop a little bit of heat. SA used to be October to February, and that was really, really hot. So you hope both teams know how to cope with it. But this is very different than club level. Suddenly you're with teammates you haven't played with before. You're not playing as much as, you're not so much the superstar you were at club level. Very different to adjust to, a whole different level. As it's, South Australia returns there. Henry Olsen thought right, went left, did a wonderful 180, ended up not gaining much. Sharks with the ball at about the 20-yard line.
As you see Henry Olsen come off, one thing I did notice today as the teams were warming up, there is some impressive hair out there today. Not just on the head, there's definitely some, well, you've got to play it down. That's 36 from Aaron Noakes. Yeah. He's not doing much moving, which is never a good sign.
Just want to see just a little bit of movement. Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
That's what we want to see.
We want to see some movement.
But there's some, like not just head hair. There's some impressive facial hair out there.
I'll tell you what, there's more hair out the back of his helmet than you and I have got combined.
Yeah. So he's going to go off. Darren Legg, number 17 for South Australia. If you get to look at him, like when he has his helmet off, like he's got an impressive plait. Looks like a Viking. Good beard.
Just reminds me how old I'm getting, Dave. And I can remember 29 years ago when they played this first series. Can't remember what happened last week, but I can remember 29 years ago.
So again, we get to look at the South Australian front single back in the backfield.
So Ted
out the shotgun, has a look early for the swing pass.
So this is James Rennie, I think, number 11. As he made some forward progress, not totally sure on that one. We'll wait till it lines up with the down marker. So SA did put a runner out back, but just for show.
Yes, big difference though, like very little yards after the contact.
No, actually no yards. In fact, that's a loss.
And they've gone to a huddle as well, South Australia, which they tried not to do last week.
2nd down and 11.
Now we go back to empty backfield.
Tedmondson with the throw downfield in the air, and about 3 players were within range.
He's brave enough to throw into coverage. He will throw into coverage. Fortunately, that one landed safe.
Marcus Delano got a hand to it. In fact, it was almost counterproductive last week for SA. Their defence was getting run all over by the Victorians and probably needed a rest. And SA were coming out and throwing passes, taking up not much time clock. And so the defence was back out. They would have been stuffed by quarter time playing in what was monsoonal conditions. Tedmondson with the pass, has the catch. It's a Sharks first down.
Andre Benjamin with the first down on that slant route. Very, very quick. Very, very strong across the middle as well. A little bit of a pump fake from Tedmondson just to kind of freeze the secondary, you'd think. Freeze the linebackers a little bit. That allowed Benjamin the time and the space. Tedmondson, the QB of the Oilers. Very, very good receiver in his own right as well.
And probably league's best punter.
Played, I'll let that one go, fellas, I'm a punter.
Oh, you're the Spartans punter? No.
I am, but that's the problem when your offense was as dominant as we were last year. You don't get to punt very much.
Well, that's it.
But Tedmondson does the lot for the Oilers.
Yep.
Played at a national level as a receiver. Played for the
Yes.
Outback as a receiver.
You'd have to say he's an athlete and has the ability to scope through. So false start against
on the
SA.
offense. That's going to drop him back to 1st and 15.
So at the moment, if I've got this right, 3 penalties called, all 5 yards, all against the Sharks. The Wolfpack, who were a little bit, they struggled in the final few minutes of the game, made some poor mental decisions. So far seem to be on song and pretty disciplined. Tedmondson, the throw, looking for Nolte. That was not your textbook play. Nolte was flat-footed. Tedmondson was throwing off the wrong foot, and it's incomplete, and it brings up 2nd down and 15.
Toiler, the number 90 from New South Wales, got through that untouched, really.
Yeah, that's...
And that's it, forcing him to throw quickly, and that's probably why we're off the wrong foot, and had a great jump on it.
Yeah, calls for Noakesy to get out there for New South Wales. Of course, Aaron Noakes was the one who was injured earlier, and thankfully came off under his own steam. 2nd and 15. Tedmondson rolls
More
to the
time for
commentary side, finds Nolte! And Nolte was, unfortunately, just a little bit like a tackling dummy on that one. As New South Wales came through, Marcos Delina and Jamie McGorry there. I'm not sure who got him first, but they got him. In the end, no gain, or maybe gain of a couple. 3rd and 13 coming up.
Tedmondson had a lot more time in the backfield than that one.
Well, he's not hanging around. He knows that New South Wales have the big boys. He's going to get pressure. He's on the move as soon as he touches the football. Seems to show a preference to rolling to the right side, which at the moment is the commentary side.
There's a New South Wales player with his helmet off. That's Marcus Delana,
who was involved in that hit on Nolte. May have just collected something along the way.
Are we going to see a lot of this fatigue? I mean, it's hard to gauge just how hot and difficult it is out there for those players, and there's no respite from it really. There's a lot of tents on the South Australian side, and there's a couple over on the New South Wales side, but it's a native of South Australia for 10 years. Once that heat gets up, it's difficult to get away from.
It does, and it can be a little bit stifling. What you want is, we are near the coast. The beach is a 3 or 4 minute drive away. You'd hope you get a bit of a sea breeze, but it is high noon here, or just about 1 o'clock local time now, as Tedmondson on 3rd and long goes, long in the air, and I think that's a Shark catch. No, incomplete.
Called incomplete by the South Australian official as well.
Josh McCarthy had himself a duel. Now, I'm not too au fait with the New South Wales helmets. Maybe our Facebook crowd can let us know what the purple one is. I think that's the North Sydney Rebels, but let me know if it's not. Those that are watching the team with the purple. New South Wales Gridiron League, 12 clubs in Gridiron New South Wales against the 5, but it is incomplete. 4th and long. Tedmondson still there to get the ball, but as a punter now. He's back at about his own 18-yard. Takes a step. That one, I think, was partially blocked. Makes it a live ball, I would have thought.
I thought it was a live ball. There's a touch, so that...
No, maybe not. No one's getting excited. Umpire saying my ball, New South Wales ball.
Honest. So that's... So...
I heard something, Dave.
It was definitely touched. I'm assuming that a block doesn't count, and it's not a live ball. But
Well,
the
other
wrinkles of American football are numerous.
Oh, absolutely. I been involved since the league started about 33 years ago, which again makes me feel really old. I compare it to karate. We have different levels of belts, and mine is pretty basic. But that's good because I've got to explain it to Australians who've never seen it before, so I've got to keep it basic.
A white belt and a brown belt.
That's it. New South Wales ball. They have the 7-0 advantage. We're late in the first quarter. Quarterback keep, probably wish he didn't. Fumbled football, picked up by the Wolfpack.
That's probably the best description. QB keeper probably wishes he didn't.
Did it. Yeah, well, again, South Australia getting some penetration on that occasion. This time there's not an offside flag. So having been absolutely run over last week.
So time has expired on our clock. Just a reminder for viewers at home, the time on our screen is a guide. We're doing the best we can.
It is not official.
Stop and start it. It's not official, so if it shows 0, don't worry about it. Just think of it as bonus football.
Ah, okay. So someone says the Rebels. Thank you to our Facebook crew. Yes, it was the Rebels. And don't forget, folks, if you've got questions or comments, if we're getting names wrong or pronounced, we will check the Facebook feed occasionally and would love your interaction. Interception! Well. Here's the run back. It's Sam's Meyer. This could be the return score. Looking for any flags, I can't see it. And Sammy Myers for South Australia has made this a 1-point game with the conversion to come. A 48-yard intercept return. Dave, call us through it.
He's read the QB's eyes all the way. Just undercut that route, off he goes, he's off to the races, he's got an escort, which is always what you like to see. Pick 6.
Pick 6, and of course the important thing from a Shark perspective was that got the escort, and they all behaved. In that scenario is a block in the back, and you can see Myers. I called a game late last year where he plays for the South City Chiefs against the Eagles. He had 3 interceptions in the first half, and the Eagles had 2 completions. He was catching more balls than the Eagles receivers on that occasion.
Looks like a timeout to South Australia, which is unusual.
Yeah, so this is James Plowman, the kicker. Tedmanson, the holder. That's the quarterback as the holder, so keep an eye on that, folks.
I would say as well that Tedmanson, when he plays for the Oilers, also plays D-line, a little bit of linebacker. It's a man who plays every single down.
Yeah, too much football is never enough.
But the timeout on the extra point, you would think it's just
it
a
is
personnel
critical.
issue.
I have seen championships lost 7-6. Kick is up, has the height, getting some cheers. We have ourselves a tied football game. 7-7 New South Wales SA. And New South Wales were getting momentum, getting movement, getting more yardage with the ball. That was a key momentum breaker for the Sharks.
Yeah, and far be it from me to criticise, but just think Jordan Nikora had one receiver in mind, never went away from him, and it's easy for the DBs to read that. When you just look at the same receiver all the time. He saw the hitch, and as soon as he saw that hitch, he knew it was happening.
And with that, that's a heck of a way to end a first quarter of football. Been very entertaining so far, folks. We've seen passing, we've seen running, we've seen 2 touchdowns, we've seen some defense. Decent crowd building up here around the Riverside Oval, and we're in for what looks to be a very interesting contest.
Yeah, and the people have come out in force, and it is a beautiful day. Summer is holding on in South Australia.
That's it. Well,
I think spring tried to knock on the door about 3 days ago, and summer wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, well, of course, it's ice hockey playoffs in the States, and they're going through the opposite. They're getting snowstorms and blizzards at a time when they're expecting things to dry out a bit. So, yeah, just hanging on. Temperature now has dropped a degree. It's 28 at the Adelaide Airport. All come down to whether we get a bit of a breeze. Burford, that was Plowman with the kick. Picked up by Rostrom Todd, pretty much at the goal line. He's looking for somewhere to run it back. They're heading down to the city end, and Rostrom's looking to do some shopping. Good return for the Wolfpack. He's got himself to midfield. At Riverside Oval, it is the 45-yard line, but the Wolfpack, Dave, will start off in sensational field position.
And again, as we watch the replay, there's a first Sharks player that gets to him just outside the 10. Can't make that the tackle.
Yep.
That's turned into a big return then. Again, just little things that I'm sure that Coach Aitken and the rest of the team will look to fix.
Aha. We talked about the punt being touched. Nathan Long, thank you for your expertise. A punt that is blocked on the punting team's side of the line of scrimmage does not count as a touch.
Right. Well, I think it was close.
Oh, no, it was, yeah. No, look, fair call. Thank you, Nathan. That makes perfect sense. We love our input. Wolfpack on the run. Looking again. That's 3 tackles, 4 tackles. He's made him miss. This is Jody Lucy on the run. Can't believe that's not a first down. It's got to be close. It is. Chains on the move.
So you'd say that Jason Ray, the head coach of the Wolfpack, will be happy with the yardage that he's getting after contact.
Yeah. You think South Australia would have been happy for New South Wales to keep throwing the ball? I think based on the last possession and the success New South Wales had running, I think you might see them focus more, maybe keeping it on the ground for a while.
Now we see that same one, and again he'll make through that first line. And he's still rumbling forward as well as he gets closer and closer. There's the goal line in sight, and now he'll just waltz over for another 6 points for the Wolfpack.
John Mau, untouchable. The Pirates storming through and leaving the Shark defense in his wake. You'll see him appear now. There's 1 miss. Yep, those jerseys pretty tough. 2 miss. Touch to the helmet. You're not getting me. Last man standing in the end zone.
Big and strong and nothing fancy. Hand it to the big fella, let him run.
Yep. Ball safe. Another arm just to fend off all comers. So that makes it 13-7 Wolfpack. 2 touchdowns on the run. The Sharks, South Australia scores off an intercept return.
Good hold, kick is up.
Well, I must admit, one thing I've noticed so far in the Australian Gridiron League from my memories, Dave, teams have a kicking game. It's like kicking was always an adventure in Australian Gridiron. I saw last week WA's winning play was a 40-yard field goal attempt. And I think all of us, commentators included, were thinking, oh, they're just faking. They're not going to try a 40-yard field goal attempt. Well, they did, and they won. And so far, extra point kicks 3 from 3 thus far.
I think part of that is that, like we've said, when you look at club football, then your kicker will generally be a position player as well. So as far as through your season and training with your club, you don't get a chance to work on that sort of stuff. Once you start getting into the state program, then you'll have a specialist kicker.
Yes.
Who they can then work over the 3-month period leading up to the AGL just on kicking. So I think you'll see the teams will get, the state teams will get a lot better chance to work on those special teams plays.
And I think as well, what's happened is they've obviously spent a fair bit of time practicing it. As here comes Olsen, looking to improve on his last return, gets past a few, he's going sideways, needs somewhere to go forward, in the end taken out of bounds at the 22-yard line. First Wolfpack there was Sam Agalides. And because it's not just the kicker, although that's at the end, that's what it comes down to, but you need the good snap, you need the good hold, you need your guys up front to actually block. And that coordination has often been the better of a lot of local clubs.
On that return, there was a lot of blue shirts in front of the returner. Should suggest that there's some blown coverage or some blown blocks further down the field. Just little things that need to be ironed out by the Sharks. Certainly,
4-game Australian Gridiron League season, no final. So this is English Premier League. You're at top at the end of the games. You are the champions.
The way it should be, in my humble opinion.
I will ask you why shortly, David, but we'll go to the game at the moment. 1st and 10. South Australia trailing by 7. It's a 14-7 ball game. Early stages, second quarter. Tedmanson buys some time, goes long and in and through the hands of James Rennie, the Razorback receiver. Incomplete. So you think the minor premiers should receive something, David?
Without a shadow of a doubt. You've been the best team over the course of the year. I mean, obviously it's different within American sports because they have conferences and they're all playing all over the place. So I accept that. With regards to any level of league stuff,
You've probably got some West Sydney Pirate fans who'll agree with you from Sydney. They went unbeaten, played Sydney Uni Lions in the Waratah Bowl, which is their grand final.
I think there might be a couple of Spartans who agree with you.
Every Spartan will agree with you, Davis. There's a handoff going nowhere. Yeah, the record of West Sydney, the Pirates, and the Sydney Uni Lions, I think have met in 4 straight grand finals. Sydney Uni, you can see some of their players with the gold helmets. 15 straight New South Wales championships.
That's impressive.
In a 12-team league. That's amazing. And, of course, here we've got the Razorbacks, or the Adelaide Uni Hogs, who have the Australian record for championships, who find a way, and I know we're not going to talk about it much more, to find a way to win wherever they are coming into the finals.
Tedmondson will drop back, steps up into the pocket. He's going to have a run. Had one of the Stevens in front of him, and he manages to find outside. He's very, very close to that first down. So the number 58 is Hugh Stevens. There is an Andrew Stevens who's wearing number 68. Not related.
They are both captains, not related.
Not related.
Both presidents of their respective clubs as well. So a lot of likenesses, just not in the bloodline, as we have a penalty being called against South Australia. So this is coming back.
Yeah, so that's another penalty. They're starting to mount up for South Australia.
I'll make that 4. And that one, even though it's only going to be, looks like it's 10 yards. I reckon that might have been a holding.
Well, if your QB's running for that long, there's a chance.
So 4 penalties, 25 yards. Sort of keeping stats whilst commentating, not the greatest way to keep him accurate, but I haven't got New South Wales penalised yet. Tedmondson from the end zone, escapes. I think he's going to keep this one. Holds the football out away from the defender, and that was Agalides with the tackle. Gained some yardage, but still well short of the first down.
Tedmondson, if you shake his hand, you need both of them. Like, his hands are gigantic.
He's like that foam hand you buy at the merchandise.
Unbelievable. I don't think the man, he doesn't wear gloves very often. I think he'd have to have them specially made.
Can't get his size.
By the Subcorps down in Port Adelaide.
That's it.
They have a whole contract just for Teddy's gloves. So we're taking a knee again. It looks like another injury. That's number 94 for New South Wales, James McLean Horton. He's going to make his way off. I think he has to because the helmet has come off. So unless your helmet is ripped off, if your helmet comes off, you have to go off at least for a down.
Various comments here. Go Sharks. Go Pack. Can't disagree with that. I assume it's Green Bay Packers.
Not the Wolfpack.
And yes, this is being played in Port Adelaide, home of the, well, it's 2 clubs, the Western Raiders Rugby League Club and the Port Adelaide Pirates, the Rugby Union Club. We're about 15 k's away from the CBD, about 3 or 4 k's away from the St Vincent's Golf, with I feel there's a nice little cool breeze coming in now.
Starting to come through, snap hits the ground, then he manages to get away. It's not the biggest or best punt in the world. It'll take a Sharks bounce though towards midfield. That's as a punter, that's the time your heart starts to jump into your mouth, because the American football does not like to bounce.
It doesn't
where
bounce.
you expect it to. So when it bounces up and hits your hands, you're quite happy. So that result is a good one.
I mean, an Australian football, which most of the South Australian guys would have had at some point in their juniors, bounces strangely, but it's got nothing on an American football. Just the pointier ends means greater deviance. So this is a great chance, New South Wales, to build a buffer here. They start 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line of the Sharks. 2 runners in the backfield, 2 receivers on the left side. They go to the run. There's the man they call the hammer on the feed. And as they say on the feed, John Mau, he's the hammer. You do not want to be the nail. And he is just bullocking his way towards that end zone.
Yeah, and again, I mean, he is causing a huge amount of damage. Just bullocking his way through. Sharks still staying with that 3-man front. There's a false start. You would expect to see the old salsa dance from the guy in the white hat. Well, there we go.
And a little to the left, and a little to the right. And now we do enjoy our officiating crew. Great to see them in full numbers. 8 out there today from all across the country. Paul Mercer, one of the most experienced officials.
And it's always a gamble, isn't it? So do we see South Australia start to bring the linebackers up and really try and shut down that box? Do we put more men in the box? Do we stay as we are? But if we're going to stay, and apologies for saying we are, I'm a South Australian native, do the Sharks stay as they are and hope that the front can work its way
Well,
through?
we've got 4-3 set at the moment.
Mau is just causing a huge amount of damage in the middle.
Absolutely. Now they've drawn the run, throw for the corner. Oh, some interesting...
No flags.
Yeah.
Held my breath a little bit. I thought there would have been one.
Rustum Todd.
Nicole is asking for one.
Yes.
Looked incidental though, and see whether Henry Olsen is out there. Is he looking at ball? He's looking at ball, so...
He's looking at ball. What's he doing with the right?
Well, he's been well coached.
Yes.
He's been well coached.
Anyway, officials are always right, aren't they, Dave?
Always.
Always. Second down and 15.
Never known an official change their mind.
No,
Without the aid of video
I saw
replay.
it in an Australian Baseball League game once, but of course this is American football here. As this one is, well, bounced, good coverage at the line.
There was a big change there. They brought Caleb Ogbade, who was also an Oiler, and they brought him right into the box, and he was the first to meet him.
Yep.
A lot less yards after contact with that. So they are starting to make that change.
Yep. Might have even been, oh, maybe not. Third down and about 14 yards to go. So this is a pretty key moment. South Australia have stayed within 7. New South Wales, stats-wise, are dominating with their offense. They're moving the ball well. They're running, and SA can't stop them. But SA are still within 1 play. 3rd and 13. Big stop needed here by the Sharks. They're going to put it to the air. Meyer again, I think. There he is. He might be the Wolfpack's leading receiver now. That's 2 picks.
Yes, he is. And watching this, you look at it, if you think you can chuck more players in the box, the secondary of the Sharks
what camera work here to get quarterback and Myers in the same frame to start off with. And yes, nice pick with the one hand. It's
when you play against the Chiefs, when you look out onto that right side and you see Myers there, I mean, as far as the Chiefs go, he stops you playing to his side.
Yeah.
The QBs will look out there and they'll see Myers and they'll generally throw away from him. The Wolfpack obviously haven't learnt that just yet. The rush and the penetration into the backfield meant that the QB isn't managing to fire and then floaty.
So now it's a key thing. What last thing South Australia want to do is do that. I was about to say this is where they don't want to make a mistake. The ball has been fumbled. It looks like it's a Wolfpack recovery. That is Tim Clulo, number 58. And that is, so back-to-back turnovers. And the Wolfpack will get to threaten again. Here's the replay, Dave.
Isaac Musselham. Rookie senior year this year. Yep. He's got a long and bright future in the game. Just strength, unfortunately.
Yep.
Stole it from him.
And look, the play by Clulo. The strip, the fumble, you'll see it here. Just got the hand in, bobbles, and he looks up and there's a football in my lap. I'd better just grab that.
Yeah.
So
and they are keeping us on our toes. Not many of the Sharks players are wearing their club helmets. They're all over the place. Little pitch outside.
This is Adam Simpson looking for a run on the left. He's avoided the first tackle, finds the corner. There's your touchdown, Wolfpack.
He just broke the ankles of Henry Olsen. He sat him down.
Yep. And having run up the middle with Mau, they find a bit of speed with Simpson on the outside. South Australia stacking the inside. That's the beauty of this game. You get once the defense thinking one way, you go the other. 6 points on the board, conversion to come.
Describe it as violent chess. Gridiron.
Yep.
You've got to be thinking three or four moves ahead.
And in the end, yep, and there was a fake in. New South Wales bit in. In the end, Olsen just lost some ankles on that one. So we are now 20-7 with the conversion to come.
So it will be an extra point attempt, just the kick again.
Kick is up, nice little stab kick. New South Wales are 3-3 on the extra points. That is Aaron McAvoy. I always want to say the Bondi Raiders because old habits die hard. It's now the Uni New South Wales Raiders, but of course Raiders were one of the most successful clubs in the early days. The Uni Lions have certainly taken over that mantle in Gridiron New South Wales in recent times.
So Olsen did well, shed his block. Just got turned inside out.
Yep.
Someone asking, is that Phil commenting? Introduce yourself again. It is SA Hall of Famer Phil Herden.
Yeah, look,
calling play-by-play.
Yeah, got taken out of, what do they call it? When they deep freeze someone for future years.
But you'll be joining us for probably week 2 as well.
Well, that's a 10 a.m. start in a couple of weeks against WA, so we'll have to be here for breakfast.
And they do have mighty fine breakfast.
They do have mighty fine. They do indeed.
The volunteers at Port Adelaide Rugby Club are out in force again.
You know, got lucky. Usually this time of year involved with some Aussie rules coverage, but as it is, we're covering the Anzac Day game, which means a free weekend. So said to the wife, yeah, got a free weekend, no Aussie rules footy. Oh, but there's a Gridiron game I need to go to.
Well, holder on the kickoff.
Yeah, a bit of a breeze out there by the looks of it. Adam Blue, the holder. This one is a nice deep kick, picked up by Olsen at about the 5-yard line. Tries to surge forward in the end. Little bit of a rugby league style lift and dump. You should expect from the New South Walesmen. So suddenly South Australia down by 14. We'll see how this pans out. Now, the last thing South Australia want to do is give up one more touchdown. At least take a 14-point deficit into the half. I guess now it's keeping the ball, running down a little bit of clock and trying to put together a drive of some substance. They've had 2 first downs from my count. I'd like to put a few more together now and get out of this danger area.
Yeah, they haven't really got that offense going, unfortunately. Just a handful of receptions and running game hasn't really got going either. Gone with the jet sweep though.
Jet sweep still on the tarmac. A bit of a chomp there from Batu and Tulu, one of the tacklers on that one. I mean, it is tricky because you pull these guys together and the first thing that you can generally get right and organise is a defence because that's about instinct and the ball. Then you can get a running game together. The most tricky thing to get right is a multi-option pass game. And that's what South Australia are trying to run.
I mean, and they have a quarterback who's capable of it.
Yep.
I mean, he is, that one's just a little bit high, but Teddy, as he's affectionately known within South Australia, he is a triple threat. He can pass, can run.
Surprised I haven't seen him run a little bit more than he has already. I think what he's trying to do at the moment is stick to the game plan, show faith in what they've worked on, faith in his receivers. And look, the pass rush hasn't got close to him because he's throwing the ball within a second and a half. As soon as he gets it, he's looking up, he's throwing. He's not checking down 4 receivers. He's pretty well set where he's going to go as soon as he touches it.
Well, they've gone empty backfield again. Now he will step up into the pocket. Now he's going to tuck and run. Not one to slide, is Teddy?
No. No. He plays too much on he plays too much on defense to do that.
I know that the coaching team will be wanting to just, not to lower the boom so much.
Yeah. Well, who have they got backup quarterback? I know Andre Benjamin played some backup quarterback for the Chiefs.
Hamelin from the Spartans.
Hamelin of the Spartans, of course.
QB.
So they've got 3 who've shown through the season just past they can throw the ball. Tedmanson did play the whole game despite the blowout last week. It's 4th down and Teddy is back to punt from his own 5-yard line. New South Wales a chance here maybe to get the ball back for one more score before the main break.
We are getting close to the main break. And one of the things that, again, there just seems to be a little bit of confusion. Now we'll finally settle down to it.
Maybe not.
No. I'm not sure. Is there a flag? Is there a delay of game flag? I mean, if your personnel's not right and you don't want to burn a timeout, if you're that deep, you may as well just take that delay of game penalty. Take the 5 yards, go from there.
He's going to have an issue because the wind is blowing north-west to southeast.
There are tiny little flags on top of the posts that will show you which way they are going. So it is into the face of Tedmanson.
So, and I don't think either side has used a timeout yet.
The Sharks did, and I think it was a personnel issue on
an
the
injury
field
timeout.
goal.
Yeah, so that one heads for touch, no return. And New South Wales again will pick up the ball in Shark territory.
So talking numbers, it's interesting. Numbers they're not as positional as you would normally see. Teminson wearing number 86, which is an unusual number to see for a quarterback to wear. But I think he started wearing it as a receiver, and he's never changed it.
Yep.
So an interesting little factoid about that. We don't think anybody else will ever wear the number 86 for the Oilers. He will be the only person who'll ever wear it. They'll probably retire it when he does. Not that he's close to it. He's probably still going to go for another 20 years.
Yeah, and of course, they lost George Williams, who was sort of the soul of the Southern Districts Gridiron Club, the Oilers, and I can't see anyone wearing 72. Again, Williams inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier this year. As the Wolfpack are on the run, and they're doing all right. Nikora, this time with the keep, gains about 4 yards, winds down a bit of clock. Just a reminder, folks, that clock is unofficial. That is our best estimate of where we're at.
But more in the box there for South Australia, so not as big a game, but still probably more than we would want to see. First contact really was behind the line of scrimmage, and then he managed to work his way over it again. But we're seeing them start a lot of four-man front. Linebackers are sitting very, very shallow now.
Very shallow. Almost offside shallow there for a sec. So New South Wales try and work around it with the pass, looking for the first down marker. I think they got close. That was Andrew Garley.
First down.
Yeah, again, the stretch out of the ball, because that can make a difference. First down, Wolfpack. So fair to say, outside of the Myers interception, the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of this contest has been all Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack have been the ones who've managed to string a drive together. There's a lot of 3 and outs for the Sharks. Probably something they'll want to try and fix at half-time. As we get close to half-time, interesting where the teams will go. Will they go inside? Will they try and hide from this heat?
As there's a good defensive play by the Sharks. That looks like...
It's John O'Berrand from the Spartans, who is... started playing some O-line this year, so didn't see much D-line, but he's certainly quick and agile for a big fella.
Let's just see, looks like he got through, pretty much untouched. So strike one up for the Sharks defence, who are playing a better game than last week. And again, they're probably suffering similar to last week against Victoria, because the Sharks offence is going 3 and out, because they're passing a lot and the clock is stopping. The defence is probably getting a lot more plays a lot sooner than what they'd want. And that, in this kind of weather, a defence tends to wear down faster than an offence.
Yes, and like in this heat. And, you know, as talk about clock management, the Wolfpack are just chewing up time on that clock with all of their run plays.
Yeah, well, their clock management in the tight scenario last week against the Raiders probably left a bit to be desired. When they had the ball up in the score by 1 point, 3.5 minutes left, that was the time to chew up some clock, and they ended up running out of bounds. They had an unsportsmanlike penalty. They had a poor punt, good return. It just gave WA a chance to get in the game, and then that miraculous 40-yard field goal. And then when New South Wales needed to conserve clock and get back, all of a sudden their quarterback is taking on another runner instead of stepping out of bounds, and they had to chew up timeouts. So we'll see if they've learned some lessons from that. 2nd down and 14. Nikora to the air, straight at the chain crew, incomplete.
That's Ray Lynch with one of the, has he got the down marker? He's got the down marker, Ray Lynch, also from the Oilers, but had to retire, I think, because of injury. He keeps threatening to come back, but he's part of the officiating crew for South Australia. They do a great job, because we play double headers in South Australia.
Yes, we do.
The officials generally will back up and play both games, do both games.
And look, it's a very different, 2 very different leagues. New South Wales, 12 clubs spread from Newcastle, Central Coast, down to Wollongong, out to Penrith and the Nepean Ducks, as they keep the ball on the ground on this occasion. And Godfred Argyman got back to the original line of scrimmage. Interesting 4th down decision coming up, and here's a timeout. It's been called by the Sharks.
Yep, timeout to the Sharks.
Okay.
They want to prolong it.
Yeah, just want to get a bit of water in them, I would suspect. And so they play all over the city with 6 games a week. SA, 5 clubs, one has a bye doubleheader here at Port Adelaide.
Yeah, so the league has been at Port Adelaide this year. It's possibly going to be a relationship that goes on for another year. We played at, I keep saying we, South Australia is, the Gridiron SA has played in a number of locations, played at Norwood Oval, played at the Pines, which is the hockey club. We've been down to Port no longer, which is an interesting one because the Southern District Oilers come from a fair distance.
Oh boy, yes they do.
And there's some people who live even further south. So it just shows the love of gridiron.
Yep. Adelaide are very north-south city.
Here is a field goal attempt. What are we looking at here as far as distance goes?
Yeah, we're looking at about 44 yards. I'll tell you what, he's given it a shake, but it's going to be short.
Nope.
All right, has he got it? He has got it.
He's got it.
Okay, I'm going to look at that replay again.
So this young man has a cannon for a leg.
Wowee. That's 3 points. New South Wales 24, South Australia 7. I'm going to watch that. Yeah, maybe just the angle. Thought I saw it drop before the posts, but plenty of crew there in the right spot to call it. So, I don't know how many field goals we've had in AGL history, but that could be up for the record. 44 yards.
Wow, there we go.
I think the SA record was 53, kicked by an Elizabeth Line one night. And I'm pretty sure that one was not 53, but it was called.
He'll know his range though.
He'll know his range, yeah. And the coaches would, and this is part of the more professional preparation when you do your practices. And he also had what was the northerly wind behind.
Legatron.
Legatron.
His nickname has been suggested.
Well, fair call. New runner. Oh! Up and down goes Seb Burford.
Some whistles on that play. I don't see a flag though.
So it has been a very good second half of the second quarter for the Wolfpack. They've scored 17 unanswered points.
So there's a conversation at the moment for the officials.
There's no flag on the play. The contact in question was legal. First down.
No flag on the play. So all of a sudden, SA just need a first down. If for no other reason, Dave, just keep the ball out of New South Wales' hands for a few minutes. So let's have a look.
So New South Wales will receive...
So there was a flag on the play.
Will they receive? Who will receive?
So New South Wales received to open the game, so you would assume South Australia will get it to open the third quarter. As Ian Nolte looked like a rugby scrum there for a while. 5 players all around that football.
Appropriate for the field we're on. There is a number of lines for our viewers to try and decipher. We are into rugby season as of next week here.
Space Quake Sports too.
We will be doing a game every week.
Every
we
week.
will start with the Anzac Day clash. You can find that on the Rugby Union South Australia Facebook. If you like hearing us and you like the footage, then watch us for all sorts of sports. Baseball, softball.
Softball, that's right.
Bit of women's footy as well this year.
Yep. Now, if there's local sport happening in South Australia, chances are it's streamed on Space Quake Sports, and you can see they do a wonderful job giving you great pictures, great angles, and we're working on the commentary. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Tedmanson back to throw, under pressure, rolls out, throws down, field intercepted. First pick on Tedmanson today.
Out of bounds.
Ruled out of bounds.
Sideline is saved, Tedmanson.
Of course. Okay. Fisher was right there. We had the side view of it.
Kind of get an idea of how big his hands are. When he's rushed out of the pocket.
Oh, yeah, right on the line.
Right,
okay.
Excellent officiating.
Yep.
Doesn't have to come up and watch it over here. He's got it.
Fair call. Of course, it is 1 foot down. College rules, or IFAF rules as it is these days.
So Tedmanson again. We'll sit in shotgun, empty backfield. Some pressure, throws underneath, and now we're still going to get some yards after the catch. Burford does very well, breaks away from one. He crosses, he's got the goal line in sight. He will make it there. That is exactly what South Australia wanted. They needed a score before going into halftime because they can double up those possessions. He got an excellent block on the way through, and then he just put his foot down and off he went.
What a catch, Seb Burford. Look where he caught this football. It looked to the naked eye like he caught it around about the knee pads and still managed to, from that position, having to stop to grab it, put on the burners. You can see the foot race. I think this will give you a great angle of it right here.
I'd like to see where his block came from. I want to see who that was because that was a good block.
That was ankle high.
Just trying to see who it is, if I can get a number. Can't
Too
see
fast.
a number, but it's a silver helmet. So there we go. That's excellent work. Burford will take us through.
So extra point attempt. James Plowman to attempt the kick. And the kicking game is perfect this afternoon.
Don't see that very often.
5 touchdowns scored, 5 from 5, throw in a field goal. It's an 11-point margin, but that will give the hometown Sharks some hope, some confidence, some momentum going into the halftime break.
Did pick it up off his bootlaces. See whether we can get a number of him. Is this 40 something?
You're not going to give up till you find that, but we might
Is
just
it
have
Ian
to.
Nolte?
Could
He's
be.
the only one wearing a 40.
They ran.
He is wearing a silver helmet.
Well, they did run 3 receivers to that side.
Nolte would have been one of them.
So
We're giving it him.
the odds are.
Good job.
Tell us we're wrong, folks.
But that's what they needed.
Yep.
Just before halftime.
So
Good deep kick now.
So they haven't exactly put together great drives. The 2 touchdowns to South Australia, the intercept return to Myers long distance, the pass to Burford long distance. New South Wales have certainly been better at managing the clock, keeping the ball, moving the ball. Fumble on the kickoff, player's knee goes down. That'll be Rustum Todd, and of course, play with the ball when knee goes down. IFAF college rules. There endeth the play. New South Wales ball from the 12.
So the squib kick does its job.
Yes.
It will give New South Wales a very, very long field as we get closer to halftime.
Not too often you see a squib kick get down to the 12.
It's a very good squib kick.
And you're never quite sure at this level, was that a planned long kick that was off the side, or was that an onside kick that was kicked a bit hard, or was that actually what was planned? We'll always give benefit of the doubt.
I'm going to go with planned.
Yeah, benefit of the
He knew
doubt.
exactly what he was doing.
So Wolfpack, backed up at their own end of the field. They've had sensational field position to start most of their drives in the second quarter, but they're at their 12.
Back into that power formation, but they will go with the quick pass. He's going to make his way on the outside. One man to beat, and he beats him. He's dancing down the sideline and whistled out of bounds.
Rustum Todd, the Bondi, Uni New South Wales Raider. G'day to Coach Paul Manera, a good mate of mine from the good old days, trying to organise interstate tournaments in Penrith and Canberra and where's the other one? Homebush, we had one year. I hope he's enjoying the broadcast.
Fairly, just trying to see where they've got the spot. Chains haven't moved yet. Holding.
Yep.
Offence. 10
All
yard
coming back,
penalty,
baby.
Remains first down.
It's one of the things about Gridiron, isn't it? If you see a big play, you hold your breath and wait for that holding
Oh,
call.
We're not quite in the position to do it here because there's too many players and there's tents and so forth. But when I see a long play, the first thing I'm looking for, I'm scanning back the field to see if there's a flag anywhere. Because 20, 30% of the time there usually is.
So again, for those of you who might be new to Gridiron, and I know that a lot of you are, and thank you very much for tuning in. 160 odd people watching us at the moment. Welcome to South Australia. For those of you who are new to Gridiron, you can't hold a player.
So now New South Wales this time Todd with the carry, gaining about 4 or 5 yards. Now we've got a timeout. I would suggest we don't really have an indication of the time remaining. I think New South Wales are calling the timeout, and sometimes they tell us how much time is left, sometimes not.
We're getting to the empty backfield, send them all kind of time for the half, aren't we?
Yep. But obviously New South Wales obviously aren't just playing it out. They do have the 11-point lead. They are still thinking about how we can well, get in field goal position. They've got the kicker. They're going to have to travel a fair way to do it back to their own 18-yard line at the moment. Should mention, of course, there is another game. We'll try and get you a score shortly. Queensland Sun Devils, the defending Australian Gridiron League champions, are playing the Victoria Eagles. Victoria's been out of the GA system as we look there. There's the city, folks, and one of the great South Australian icons, Dave.
The city or the Stobie pole?
The Stobie pole. You won't find that, the power pole, folks, with the sort of rail lines separated by pieces of concrete. You won't find that anywhere else in the entire country.
South Australian invention. The Stobie pole and the goon sack. South Australian inventions that I couldn't do without. Hills hoist.
Second down, 3 yards to go. Great vision there on the Spacequake Sports as Nakura goes back under pressure, has to roll out, still under pressure, avoids, steps out of bounds. So now they're seriously thinking about their clock management, aren't they, Dave?
Yeah, so they have stepped out of bounds, so that will stop the clock on the field. Ours has run out of credit.
6 seconds.
Just saw John O'Barron come around the corner there, and he thought he might have a free shot on the QB, but the QB just stepped out of bounds. Still protect the QBs even at this level.
Oh, very important.
But if a player gets a chance to light a QB up, they will take it.
It is a close game in Brisbane, East Rugby League Club. The Sun Devils 8, Victoria 6. I think about 2 minutes left, so running a very similar game time to us. New South Wales have kept it up the middle, just to gain a yard, and I think they've conceded maybe it's time to take a break, although now South Australia thinks, oh, we might get the ball back, we'll take a timeout.
Yeah, well, they will get the ball back. Well, will they get the ball back? What are we, fourth and 5-ish at the moment? Much better from South Australia. It's that play we've seen. New South Wales coming out of that power formation basically for the whole day. Just a simple handoff to Mau Mau, but this time they did stop him inside the tackle box. So much, much better from the Sharks. And they will call a timeout. Trying to keep that offense out there as well a little bit, you would think.
Yep, just time out a little bit. So who we got back? We've got Henry Olsen back for South Australia. So just checking that Queensland game. I better turn down the volume or else we're going to get very confused.
I would suggest as well, if they can get a decent return on this one, give themselves a short field, then we might see
Throw
them
the ball.
send everyone, but he's under pressure. Manages to roll out, gets the kick away, and a very, very good kick in the end.
That is an amazing recovery. That is incredible. The Aaron McAvoy could have just stepped out of bounds and South Australia would have got the ball at about the 15.
That's a huge play. And punters probably don't get called for when they do good things, but one of the things you would say is that because we are Australian and the major winter sports, especially in New South Wales, is going to be rugby union or rugby league. So players are quite used to having ball in hand and avoiding tackles and then kicking away.
Yep. Aussie rules players as well. So you see the...
Surprised we don't see more Australian punters in the NFL.
We do see a few, and we do see quite a few in college as well. In fact, the Punter of the Year award has gone to Australia's about 3 out of the last 4 years. So South Australia are backed up there, but they're throwing the ball. They've got a catch to Benjamin in the field of play. First down. Clock will stop, I think, momentarily to reset. And everything's in a rush.
He'll step back. He'll look out to the right. He'll swing out to Nolte, and he will get out of bounds, which will stop the clock.
Yep. So I'm just trying to see the judge in the backfield. He's got the clock to see if...
I think that might be it.
And I think that is half-time.
Clock will have beaten him just before he got out of bounds. So...
Well, I'm going to put that down, Dave. I've seen all the games so far. This has been the most entertaining half of football thus far in the Australian Gridiron League this season. We've seen touchdowns from everywhere, 5 in total. SA still in range. It's the Wolfpack 24, the Sharks 13.
So welcome back to Riverside Oval at Port Adelaide, where both teams are warming up. The old soccer adage, football is a game of two halves. You talk about Gridiron, it's a game of two games, really. They go through a full warm-up at half-time.
Yeah, they just got to keep stretched. They got it's interesting. I mean, you see this a little bit in Australian rules football, where the teams come out and they run around maybe for 3 minutes. Not quite the coordination that you see here at the Gridiron level, where they all have their grids and moving up and down. Keeps the crowd entertained. Good turn up of people today, enjoying a glorious day, about 28 degrees. Just a nice little cooling breeze starting to come in for the coast, and we'll be fascinated to see how the players are going once they hit that fourth and final quarter.
Yeah, I had a chat with both coaches at half-time. The coach of the New South Wales side, his name is escaping me at the
Jason
moment.
Ray?
Jason Ray. He's happy with where they are at the moment. He feels that they're very, very close to breaking it open. There's just a couple of missed blocks, a couple of missed things. But he feels that they're very, very close to breaking it open. He's happy with his first half, as you would be when you go in with a lead. Also spoke to Drew Aitken, the coach of the SA Sharks. He's less happy. Very passing-based offence, and he just feels that started off with a couple of 3 and outs, just didn't find their targets, but he felt that they settled into it. Defensively, he was happier that, he's happier with his secondary, and knows that if he just stops the run, life is going to get a little bit easier.
Well, that's the trick. I mean, you'd have to say the game was played mainly on New South Wales terms.
Yeah.
New South Wales came out throwing in their first series. Once they worked out, maybe we can run on the Sharks, then, guys like Mau Mau were just bringing the hammer. SA did stop them towards half-time, and that touchdown to Burford just gives them some hope of staying in the contest. But you'd like to be on the Wolfpack's side at the moment. I'm just thinking back through the history of Gridiron games played here, from the Grand Prix Challenge in 1989 that New South Wales won, through 3 national championships here that New South Wales. I don't think New South Wales have ever lost a game here in Adelaide from about 5 or 6 trips.
You would say as well that as far as sports in Australia goes, one of the things that I'm really impressed with about Gridiron is it's one of the few where SA are competing on the same level as New South Wales, and, or all states are competitive.
Yep.
When you look at AFL, obviously the Victorians and the South Australians stand out. You look at rugby, then obviously the East Coast stand out. But this is probably the most equal league that we got. Obviously Queensland are dominant, but
yep. Well, it varies, and I mean a lot of it is player availability, and then your key players retire, and then it's the structure behind it. How soon do you get your coaches in position? What commitment do you get from your players? Very different now than the week-long carnivals we used to have, and I think this is a better setup to have the league. It's great that every state gets to host some games, so the fans and the family can come out. There was great camaraderie at the week-long championships, that you had everybody together in the one place at the one time, but you had to take a week off work.
And a week of football will be tough.
Well, a week of football was tough, but you also get to pretend that you were a professional football player, or in my case, a professional commentator for a week, because that was all you were doing. But we're back with the Australian Gridiron League second half, and SA to get the ball.
They will get the ball. Burford is going to, well, he thought about fielding it, but it goes out of bounds, so there's a penalty. So they'll, South Australia will advance without having to do anything. As the kickoff cannot go out of bounds. Burford, who scored that long, broke one, as they say, towards the end of the second quarter. And I can confirm that it was Ian Nolte who threw the block. I had a chat with him at half-time. He was very,
you weren't going to rest until you found out.
Very proud of it, he was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the score at the moment is 24-14.
30 yards from where it was kicked.
It's 10 points. New South Wales have had 3 touchdowns, all with a successful extra point and a 3-point field goal.
24-14.
And South Australia have had 2 touchdowns, both with the extra point conversion. So I haven't seen a 2-point conversion attempt yet.
So
but
South
we're still in the
Australia
third
will
quarter.
start with an empty backfield, 5 receivers. Tedmondson, he will step up into the pocket. It's a tough man to put down, but they get him eventually, and I think that's the first. Was that a shark jump or a alligator clap? One of the two. I think that's.
I think Martin Ballada is having some fun with the South Australian nickname.
Yes.
He's going with the jump.
So a single in the backfield, that is Ian Nolte. Tedmondson still out of shotgun, looks quickly, dumps it across to Perfect, but he can't pick that one up. And starting with a little bit of sledging now, Martin Ballada. He's enjoying himself out there, I think.
You usually know with these line of scrimmage battles who wants to play more football and who's had enough. And New South Wales are starting to dominate there, and they're starting to get to Teddy.
So still in the shotgun. Has a look around, will find his receiver, and receiver is open in the middle. That'll be a first down and a big chunk of change. And that is James Rennie across the middle. Had to put his hands above his head, which running across the middle won't have been a comfortable experience for him, but first down and more. And this is what we thought we would see. The hurry up, no huddle offense. Empty backfield again. Tedmondson drops a couple, then we'll fire it out. Big shouts for pass interference, and there is a flag. So pass interference, so that'll march him down. That'll be better. Danger of a 3 and out initially.
Well, this is going to be the most sustained drive that the Sharks have put together this season, as they'll put virtually back-to-back first downs, assuming this is pass interference against the Wolfpack.
Oh, clock has found its way up to nearly 18 minutes. We'll work out what's going on with that. That'll get fixed shortly, I'm sure.
Yeah,
so it is a pass interference on the Wolfpack. 3 yards. That's what the Sharks want.
Pass interference.
Pass interference. Defense.
Spot foul, automatic first down.
One of the foul. Sharks, for the first time, are probably going to have a play in New South Wales territory. Okay. What do they have to search for in YouTube?
So just while we talk in the background, apologies for that. Facebook has crashed at the moment. If you are watching us on YouTube, on the Spacequake Sports channel, we will try and get the Facebook log over to YouTube. A little bit of discussion on the field. Andrew Stevens is also on the O-line. So I think he's playing both ways today. We have gone empty backfield again into the shotgun. Tedmondson back there. He'll take the snap. Again, he's rushed in the pocket and he's sacked for the second time. Very, very quick succession. No chomp that time, though, from Ballada. He must have been a little bit tired. So they're going to look again, and they've gone back to that huddle. But it's still an empty backfield. South Australia are certainly trying to work the secondary of New South Wales. Tedmondson will drop, fires it out. Good reception from Benjamin, but only 2 yards on the initial line of scrimmage, but there is a flag on the play.
Should add that score at the moment, should read New South Wales 24, South Australia 14. No score is yet from halftime.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 90.
This is, if you just joined us, if you're just crossing over, as mentioned, the YouTube channel, look for Spacequake Sports. Hopefully you'll find us there.
Just trying to work that one out.
So another first down for the Sharks on the penalty. Mentioned that New South Wales had gone without penalties for long kick. This one's going to be picked up at about the 10-yard line.
On the goal line it was.
New South Wales on the run back. That was Godfrey Arjiman. And it's going to be brought down at about the 18-yard line.
It's very slow to get up, though. Well, he's getting up eventually. A lot of people stood around him who looked like they were a little bit concerned for him.
There is one Shark player. He's the slow one to get up at the moment.
When that's an Oilers helmet, I think that could be Caleb Ogbede.
And if it is, that's a big loss. He's been...
Big, strong linebacker in the middle, but again, not much movement from him either. Which is never a good sign.
No, SA noted for their speed and skills rather than their size and power.
Just trying to check. It's not Ogbede because he's up and about. I can see Ogbede in the 53. The number 3 it is, Paul Muntz, who was slow to get up. He's limping, so that's good news. So it's not a head or neck. We should be back live on Facebook, and we are. Hello, Facebook land. Welcome back. We will do what we can to update the score for you. I think we've had to start a new stream, and we have, so we are back live. So once we sort out the score, which Phil, being his usual diligent self, will have kept on top of.
Yeah, let me just get my fingers back. 24-17.
24-17. So New South Wales will start from around their own 20, I think. I think they've had a change in quarterback as well. Lucas Voyner has come in, the number 4. But they will continue to hand off in the middle, and he's stopped on or around the line of scrimmage.
It's interesting, of course, all squads have multiple quarterbacks. They need them in case of injury, and these squads are at full size, 42 players. So Victoria, we saw them change their quarterback in the second half, maybe playing against the South Australian defence, wears them out after a half and they have to switch over. Offence has had a fair bit of the ball for New South Wales today. They've put together some good drives, 3 touchdowns, all on the ground. 2nd down and 10. They'll stick it to the ground. Oh, throw across the middle, faked me out, incomplete. Intended receiver was Rushton Todd, incomplete, 2nd and 10.
Big hit across the middle from Pele Di Francesca. So talked about running across the middle and taking your life into your own hands. So apologies, we are at the mercy of the vagaries of Facebook at times. But we should be back with you. 2nd
down and 9. Important for SA to stay in the game. They stopped the New South Wales attack. This time was a pass across the middle, caught by Buck Williams, who shows that he could make it to officiating school, Dave. Just showing how the first down signal's done.
Signal down pat, hasn't he? Knows what he's doing.
It's amazing how many potential officials you hear from during the course, you know, from the crowd, from the sidelines. Everybody wants to be an official.
Well, I think, big crew, and again, this is something that's great from the AGL, you have a full crew. But you add the crew wearing the black and white, plus the 22 wearing various different helmets. There's a lot of officials out there.
Oh, absolutely, mate, absolutely. What do we got? We've got 84 players, 8 officials, let alone coaching staff. As New South Wales look to run a bit of a power run here, and they're doing well. Bounce off one, eventually as a Spartan tandem comes in to end the play. That was Adam Simpson, who has a touchdown to his credit. On this occasion, gains, just looking to see where the ball's going to be marked. Gain of long 8, 2nd down and short 2.
Well, Di Francesca again making the tackle. He's really started to work at the start of this second half. It's 2nd and 1.
7-point ball game. New South Wales 24, South Australia 17. They've played in some doozies over the years. This one is met in the backfield. It's going to bring up 3rd down. South Australia has only beaten New South Wales twice over the 29 years that they've been playing games. One was a big one, the 1996 Gridiron Australia National Champions, the first GA Nationals in Canberra. They played in the prelim round and New South Wales beat South Australia, but SA finished top 2. It was a Thursday night. New South Wales went back to work on the Friday.
Wow.
The SA boys couldn't come back to Adelaide. They stayed and they practiced. Then they won 35-0 for that national championship. And that was probably the high watermark in Gridiron SA history. Since then, the Wolfpack have pretty much dominated. 3rd and 5 here. Looking at Simpson again. He's found the first down yardage out of bounds. The other SA win was last year. As mentioned, Wolfpack have had a very good run, but last year they revamped the side, lost a lot of players. They lost to the Raiders 60-20 to Western Australia. They lost to the Sun Devils 61-0 And then in Hurstville, back on the 7th of May, SA won their first interstate game in some time, beating the Wolfpack 35-12. And that meant that SA handed New South Wales the basement for the previous Australian Gridiron League. That, of course, held in 2016. Both first week losers, different ways, but a tight one here, 1st and 10 Wolfpack.
Smart football from New South Wales as well. When they see that the box is stacked like it is now, they tend to then run outside or pass outside, and very, very nearly picked off by your man again.
Myers was looking for the hat trick.
But they've been very, very sensible. The offenses, I wonder whether they go into the line with 2 plays, depending on what the look that the Sharks give them.
Well, the general Gridiron theory is the defence is going to give you something. They can't have the whole field covered off. So it's about the offensive side either having such execution it doesn't matter what the defence does, or the offence being able to adjust to take what the defence gives you.
It's a very quick question from Facebook. Who's the New South Wales number 66? It's Harrison Crook. Harrison Crook.
Couple of roster changes, Crook being one of those. Simpson manages to escape the pursuing Shark defender and get some forward progress. So they're mixing it up. I think that's the way to call it for New South Wales. This pass here, outside run here. Haven't run it up the middle for a while. Maybe they're just trying to get SA to spread out a bit and then send the hammer Mau up the middle.
And that's, well, that's the thing is we talk about, and you're obviously a baseball man, and you've got your set-up pitches.
Yes.
It'd be set-up plays,
Oh,
and
very
you'll
much.
be looking to look for a change, or you run that much and then you run the play action to just freeze the linebackers a little bit. But
some teams are very good. They can run strongly. Others are very good passing-wise. But the best offensive teams are the ones that have the balance. They keep that defense guessing because timing is everything. 3rd and 6. To the air we go. Downfield and incomplete. I think it was intended for Rostrum Todd. Plenty of red jerseys around it. No one could take it. 4th down. And I suspect New South Wales might punt from here.
when you look at it, I'm just trying to work out yardage. Would they punt?
They're at midfield, 45
let's see how
yards.
big the Legatron's leg actually is.
Legatron. Well, I got to say from there it would be a
That's not
62-yard field
it's not
goal.
A holder, surely not.
No, so it's going to be a punt.
It's going to be a punt. That's what South Australia will want to see, though. They'll want to force New South Wales into the pass, because I think if you look at the pass defence from South Australia, they've been on top.
Oh yes, as McAvoy looking for the little nice kick to the corner, just inside the 30. Had a lot more real estate to play with there, Dave. I thought you'd be looking for a long kick, try and pin them inside the 20, but given where SA were kicking from, that's not bad field position for South Australia.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with himself, and I think you saw that as he came off with just the way he took that helmet off. He went with the pooch punt, and that, as a punter, that's always the difficult. Once you're caught betwixt in between, where you can't just let it go, they're the difficult ones. And again, it just comes down to practice and the amount of chance, the amount of practice that you can actually get of that sort of skill.
That's right.
So empty backfield again for Tedmanson, and hard snap count, trying to get him offside. I think they got. He steps up into the pocket, lets a wobbly one go.
What? That wasn't a wounded duck. That was like a boomerang.
That was, yep.
It was going up and over.
I'll be glad it didn't come back to him though. Andrew Stevens, I think, is asking questions about the offsides. If you can get a replay of it, like it was close.
Replays are a little bit dodgy here with the hurry-up offense.
Yeah, but they are going again. If we can squeeze one in, we can. But obviously with South Australia going to hurry up, they're going to reduce in number. Again, Nolte. Don't know whether that was a designed QB keeper or a little bit of a blown play, but again, sacked again, Tedmanson.
Yeah, South Australia's running game would be lucky to be in double figures with yardage, I think. They've had a few in the backfield, a few for maybe short gains, but everything of substance offensively has been through the air.
So they are trying to go hurry up. Tedmanson sits back again. He's rushed out the pocket, has a receiver available, and then just throws it down.
That had to have been some miscommunication because there were two receivers on the Sharks side of the field, and that one lobbed about 10 yards in the middle of them.
Yeah, it looked like there was one available, and Tedmondson will go back to punt, and this is one where you're definitely not caught between a rock and a hard place. This is just put your foot through it and let it go.
Yeah,
Tedmondson back
unleash.
to punt. Loopy keeps hold of it, then we'll let it go. Takes a sideways bounce and will go out of bounds probably around the 35 of New South Wales. Yeah. And it wasn't quite a 3 and out, but it's not an offensive drive that Drew Aitken will be happy with.
No. Momentum with that touchdown to South Australia, also with the field goal, making it a 7-point game. Chance for SA, and look, it was the best drive they've put together this entire AGL, and they got some points out of it. I think for the next one to go 3 and out would be disappointing. Just cancels that momentum a bit, but still a one-play game, and if they're going to throw it near Sammy Myers, it could very well be a tied game.
He lurks out there. I mean, he probably suits the Shark nickname more than anyone else. He just lurks out there, and his ability to read the QB's eyes and the route that's facing him. So
Lucas Voinar, the quarterback for the Wolfpack, they have the 7-point lead. Throws a short little one across the middle for the tight end, makes the catch. That is Buck Williams.
Ogbeday with the hit, short of the first down, but again, a nice little yardage gained. They're just picking the very, very short passes. Nothing big in the air yet.
Yep. Perfect first down play. You gain 7 yards on your first down play, gives you a couple to get those last 2 or 3. The way New South Wales can run the ball, this is a great position for them. If they can do that every series, they're going to be really, really strong. Second and third, very close to midfield. Here comes the run play right up the middle. Well designed by New South Wales. Argyman, Godfred takes it. And that's easy first down. I mean that was easy.
Yeah, first down yardage again. Everyone does their job. Anybody who knows about football will know the great Bill Belichick and his mantra, do your job. Everyone does your job, and you should have one-on-one somewhere.
Equipment managers included.
Everyone. Why take one ball into the shower when you can take 2?
That's right. First down and 10. Wolfpack in Shark territory. They're about 40 yards away. They have the 7-point lead. We've had when we have had a lead, it has been New South Wales. SA haven't led today. On this occasion, they keep it on the ground, and you probably give that one a win for the Sharks because New South Wales only gaining about 3 yards out of it.
As the Sharks have shown with their secondary and their DBs, their defensive backs, they are winning defensively. So there is a player down again. Try and get a number. Silver helmet and a 50. Not sure who it is, but going back to that. The Sharks will want to manufacture a 3rd and long and force the Wolfpack to go to the air. And they haven't managed it just yet. So 57, that's Jake Holt. Comes limping off from the, I'm going to get it wrong again, Uni-SA Eagles.
Yeah, my alma mater.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. Not that they had a Gridiron team back when I was at uni. Gridiron had only just started back then. But here's the other thing that you've got to bear in mind. And now that both teams have a kicker, it's not just a case of getting in the end zone, it's getting in field goal range now.
Well, you would say, judging by where they were in the first half, a first down here will put them.
And if the quarter ends and they're kicking with the wind, it could be 3 points. But they're going for the 6, and they're going to get it too. Touchdown pass, Rostrom Todd. And the Wolfpack lead extends to 13. 41-yard touchdown pass, pure poetry in motion.
Just beat Henry Olsen on the fade. Just couldn't get it. And once he got into the backfield, and that's the kind of pass you want to see. I mean, the touch on the pass is beautiful. Straight into the breadbasket. And Olsen just caught out of position.
And if you notice, quarterback has a big R on his helmet. Receiver has a big R on his helmet. Obviously club mates at the Raiders. I suspect that's a play they've been practicing and playing for years.
And
it showed.
It's a timing play as well, because he threw that just off that third step. No real look or hitch or anything. He knew where he was going to put it, and the receiver knew where it was going. Kick is up. Kick is good.
So 14 points the margin, 31-17, and that is a key blow to lodge just before we head to the three-quarter time break.
Yeah, look, Henry Olsen's had a tough day at the office today. It's been, you know, a lot of times that he's had to deal with things one-on-one, and wonder about the support he's getting.
Should tell you about 4:20 left in the third quarter. Queensland have scored again in Brisbane. Score at the moment, the Sun Devils 15, Gridiron Victoria are 6. Queensland their first game, Victoria second. We've got 5 teams in the Australian Gridiron League. 2 games each weekend over a 5-week series. 4 games won by Queensland defending champions.
So WA have got the bye today. You would have to say, like, if a team starts at a little bit of a deficit, it's WA, because their travel will be horrendous for this tournament.
As that kick finds Olsen, looking to do something here, get a big run back. Eventually, the Wolfpack descend in numbers, as Wolfpack do, down at the 21. Next week, talking about Queensland, South Australia are heading up there, so I'm a life member of both Gridiron SA and Gridiron Queensland, having spent some time up there. And they'll be battling at East Leagues Club. Now that is a 12:30 start Queensland time, which is 12 o'clock here in Adelaide. That'll be web-tuned. And Victoria travel to Perth, play at Curtin Uni, and New South Wales
During
get the
return,
week
off.
off.
Number 33.
As was a penalty against South
down.
Australia. New South Wales' next game is the big one, the old State of Origin, the Blues and the Maroons. They'll be hosting Queensland at Roberts Eames Park's Corrimal, 12 p.m. on May the 5th. On the same day as we'll be here, Dave, at 10 a.m. Adelaide time for the Sharks and the Raiders from Western Australia.
Early start for the West Australians. Single back. Still out of the shotgun. Nolte will take it. Not much of a hole there for him, though.
Now, I'm going to make an assumption that WA are not flying over that morning.
I think they are flying over that morning. I think they've got a really, really early flight.
So if 10 a.m. is 8:30 in Perth, hour to prepare, 7:30 Perth, 3-hour flight, 4:30 Perth. What time are they getting up?
Friday.
Friday.
As Tedmanson finds the hands of James Rennie, and he couldn't pull that one in. An easier one than the one he caught, you would say.
Of course, the preparation. Teams fly in the morning of the matches, most of them. New South Wales a little late, hence why we started 30 minutes late. So no accommodation cost. You fly in, you fly out.
So Tedmanson, empty backfield, out of the shotgun again. Looks, steps, fires out to the sideline. Nobody there. Third down, another flirting with another 3 and out, Phil.
Yep. Oh, I think they just, it's more than flirt, I think they're there. Can't see a fake punt from your own 10. Look, they're still in the contest, it's a 2-score game. Don't see a lot of comebacks. I used to say that 17 points was a magic number in Australian Gridiron. Very few teams ever came from 17 points down to win. Has happened rare occasions. But SA aren't there yet. Tedmanson from his end zone. That's what you want. You want the torp. And an SA bounce.
He's fielded it though.
Yep.
He's stepped out of one. Now he has a couple of Sharks pursuing him. Nolte will bring him down.
Godfred Argyman with the return, and in the end that's not bad. You're punting from your end zone, and New South Wales will start from their inside their own 34. I think that's a good special teams play for the Sharks, and that will do it for the third quarter. We're into the final stretch, Dave, and entertaining. South Australia got a field goal. New South Wales responded with a touchdown. They extended their 10-point halftime lead to 14 at lemon time.
South Australia just can't seem to get anything going offensively, and that's really been their downfall. The defense one touchdown in the third quarter, which kind of went against the run of the defence. They'd started really to stamp down, and they shut down the New South Wales run compared to what it was in the first half. But they just can't get anything going offensively.
No. They had that great drive that led to a field goal, and we thought, hello. They made the adjustments and suddenly their offence. And you find that sometimes with a passing attack that it does take that little while to get into lead. You need your really good receivers out there to make the key catches. But right now it's first down Wolfpack. Another score here could just about put this one on ice, I think, Dave. But they're starting from their own 34. Little bit of confusion in the backfield. Get the handoff to Mau. He's off and running and gains about 5 yards.
He's a big, strong runner, and Vajara a little bit slow to get up. Felt the full force of the hammer.
Yes.
But he is up and moving around. He's a tough nut. Also a Port Adelaide Spartan.
Yeah, so SA for the New South Wales Viz have 5 clubs. Adelaide Uni Hogs, the Port Adelaide Spartans, the South City Chiefs, Uni SA Eagles, and the Southern District Oilers.
All of whom are represented here today. New South Wales still in that power stance, and then they will just short handoff to Mau. Runs through the first tackle and finally is brought down. Combination of Hoey and Darren Lake. Hoey, we haven't really called Hoey's name too much today.
Third and short. New South Wales, they have 12 Division 1 teams. They do have a Sharks, the Central Coast, the Macarthur Rampage, Newcastle Cobras, Northwestern Predators, Northern Sydney Rebels, that was the purple helmet we saw before, the Nepean Ducks out near Penrith, Sutherland Seahawks, 15 time in a row Premier Sydney Uni Lions, UTS Gridiron, West Sydney Pirates, Uni New South Wales Raiders, and the Wollongong Mustangs.
Foyner again to Mau with just a very simple handoff. We've seen that play, must be into double figures now, that exact same play. And
yep.
The Sharks will know it's coming,
but they haven't.
Just can't seem to stop it.
They can't quite get the bulldozer on the field to stop him.
Yeah. And,
need to build a wall.
In the immortal, words of Simon and Garfunkel, I'd rather be a hammer than a nail.
Yes. I just get the vibe, Dave, having seen a few of these games in years gone by, that New South Wales are looking to land the killer blow on this drive.
Yeah.
They're going to run it until South Australia stops them, get that 3 touchdown advantage, and then they're home and hosed.
We have a whistle.
Delay of game.
Delay of game.
Offence. 5-yard penalty.
Not something they'll be overly
Mains
concerned
first
with,
down.
you wouldn't have thought. They've shown that they can move the ball, so I don't think 15 yards is too big an issue.
If you're running the ball, those 5 yards they'd prefer not to have to find. But at least it's on first down, not third down.
It's probably a little bit early to be thinking about clock management as well, to be fair.
I think any chance they get to wind it down as much as possible, they'd be starting to think about it. And having run for a while, they do go to the air and find the receiver. That is Chris Ravlich. Just to keep the SA defence guessing a little bit. Their passing game in this second half, Dave, hasn't been used a lot, but it's been effective.
I think when Drew Aitken gets to sit down and review the tape of this game, I think the boys during the week may be working on a little bit of tackling.
He'll probably put it on mute,
yes,
so he doesn't have to hear us.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Put some Leonard Skinner down in the background. He's an Alabama native.
Yeah.
He loves wearing his Alabama stuff. He was very happy with the college season this year.
The Crimson Tide of Alabama. Second down. 6 yards to go for the Wolfpack.
And he's also a New England Patriots fan, so it goes to show that not everybody can be perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting mix. Of course, not a lot of pro football.
So is that 2 delay of game penalties?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point.
And now it gets tricky.
Well, your coach would be throwing around his clipboard at that point, wouldn't he?
Yeah, because now it's second down and 10, so... But they've managed it so far, and look, if anything, and look, in some ways, this is, you notice that the official blew time in, so they've gone the full quota, then blown time in. This is taking the clock down a little bit. They go to the air, has the receiver, who got back to the line of scrimmage, which is Andrew Garley. Third down.
A lot of effort for no gain.
It's not the first time we've seen that. Those reverse plays or those kick returns that go from one sideline to the other but don't quite get to go north-south. 3rd and 10 Wolfpack. Looking to put a lid on a coffin here if they can get into the end zone. Or I think any score, make it a 3-score game, would just about do it. They go to the air and, well, best chance with it was De Francesca, Spartans defensive back, intended for Chris Ravlich.
Give him the benefit of the doubt. Excellent coverage from De Francesca. Knock it down, force them to punt, rather than give yourself a long field with the interception.
That's it. So now, yeah, and this is a good stop for South Australia. I mean, each stop's a good stop. What am I talking about? But just again, that little momentum holder. He'll get the ball back. McAvoy to punt, has a chance with the wind. If he does this right, he could really put it deep.
Again, he's gone with the pooch. He's taken an excellent New South Wales bounce. I don't think he'd be very happy with
11-yard line. Leave it
that
alone,
was on
son.
its way. Joey Donaghy, like it was on its way.
Yeah, well, of course, it could have then bounced all the way into the end zone and come back out.
Well, I think Donaghy would have been able to keep up with it and stop it on the one.
That's what Donaghy's saying. Look, man, it was going in the end zone. I could see from here. I had to stop it. Should mention about 12 minutes to go in the other Australian Gridiron League game. It's at East Leagues Club at Cooper. That is a magnificent facility, I should add. And it's the Sun Devils of Queensland 15, the Eagles of Victoria 6. So 9-point lead, 2-score advantage to Queensland.
Templeton in the backfield. There's a new back in there. It's Voller who's gone back into the backfield. Just off the fingertips of Burford. And that one is incomplete. So Voller is into the backfield. So MVP. Yep. League MVP. Let's see whether he can make an impact. Don't think he's been as impactful as he would like to have been on the D-line. Let's see whether he can swap sides of the ball and make a change. Empty backfield, into shotgun. Tedmondson drops, has a receiver, finds him. It's Benjamin. Benjamin with quick feet, tries to get around the outside. Good yardage. First down.
Troy O'Hare did well just to keep some semblance of control in that tackle. Even though Benjamin managed to get a couple of extra yards, he wasn't able to break open and make it a big play for the Sharks, although that is a first down.
And again, we are back in the hurry up. They're trying to keep the New South Wales defence on the field. Don't allow them to make substitutions, keep them going. Tedmondson drops, fires, and just led Burford a little bit too much.
Most of the throws have been high, and that tends to be an adrenaline thing. You just throw it that little bit harder, that little bit earlier. And it's always, I mean, who am I to say? I've never played quarterback in my life. Just to take it that little bit slower and get it on the money.
Empty backfield again. 5 receivers. Tedmondson steps up into the pocket, has a little bit of a gap, but it's closed very, very quickly. And he is down. Yeah, you're not wrong. Anybody can go out and you can grab a gridiron ball and you can throw it to each other and you can get the perfect spiral. You can even do it with receivers and, you know, just your receivers and just a secondary. As soon as you start putting a line in there, everything goes a little bit quick.
That's right.
Single back, Voller. Tedmondson fakes the handoff. Again has to scramble. Will let it go. Straight out of bounds. And there is a flag. I wonder whether he got out of the pocket, whether they're going to call that intentional grounding. Because I didn't see a receiver in the vicinity.
Bit hard when you throw it at the sideline near the first down marker, though. However, as we know, the officials are always right. No, it's New South Wales.
It's a 10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
But it's a first down, so it's got them out of jail somewhat.
Yeah, and that's a couple of first downs in a row for the Sharks. The last time they did this well, they got a field goal out of it. I don't think they'll be going for a field goal from here. They need 2 scores.
They do need the 2 scores, and the big ones. Probably a little bit in 2-point territory at the moment. Tedmondson is just too rushed at the moment. The line just has to work a little bit harder and give him a little bit more time. Empty backfield again. Steps into the pocket, lofts it. Lucky for James Rennie, who's been his favourite receiver today. A little bit of spatial awareness from him. He's already out of bounds.
Personal foul, hands to the face.
Even if he had held onto the ball, I think that would have been called out.
First down.
But nice touch, but yeah, he was already out
I
of
reckon
bounds.
there's another penalty against the Wolfpack. Yeah, well, they called a pass interference, maybe. Something we obviously missed between the two of us. And because of the hurry up, we can't check the replay.
Let's have a look at the replay very, very quickly. I'll keep an eye on the game. You watch the replay. We have, looks kind of like two backs in the backfield. It's a formation we haven't seen from them. It's almost a power run formation, but Tedmondson will air it out, throws into double coverage.
Oh, and almost picked up.
Lucky to get away with that. I think that was Mitch Kirk.
Mitch Kirk did everything except hold on to the football.
Yeah. Tedmondson threw into double coverage.
Queensland have scored in Brisbane. 10 minutes to go in the final quarter there. It's 22-6 Sun Devils.
So empty backfield again. Tedmondson steps up, and that one is picked off. Burford had hold of the shirt and was not letting go. There is an interception for Tedmondson.
Ben Lucas, the rebel from North Sydney. A key turnover. I think that's the first pick that Tedmondson has thrown today. There was one that looked a pick, but it was out of bounds. So second turnover from the South Australian offence. And just had, as an Aussie rule saying, you play in front.
Yep.
Doesn't sometimes work in Gridiron if they throw over your head. But on that occasion, thought the pass was going to drop short and read it perfectly. First down, Wolfpack.
Yeah, just forcing it a little bit, I think, at the moment, the Sharks.
Well, you're down by 2 scores. You're in the final quarter. You're sort of in that position as now New South Wales will start to look at winding down the clock. As we've mentioned through the coverage, the clock on your screen is unofficial.
Just to give you a sort of ballpark figure as to how long there is to go. I said this when we were talking, we had our pre-broadcast meeting, and I said this, there'll be the officials out there will have about 6 different times as well, so timekeeping in American football is an art form.
Oh, absolutely, and it's so many games when they're within a score, how you manage that time in the final few minutes. And it used to be all about your 2-minute drill.
Guard
then
timeout, New South Wales,
Patriots talked about 4-minute drill. You know, and as New South Wales call a timeout. You know, when you have the ball and you have the lead, start to find ways to wind down that clock, because if you can get an extra minute off, 5 or 6 minutes to go, that's going to help you.
We're talking NFL level as well, the QBs that are out there, and like how much time can you give them if you are a score up?
Yeah.
And there's a couple out there you can give them no time at all.
That's right. Well, it's amazing how quickly, with timeout strategically positioned, and we saw that Super Bowl 52. Brady was sacked, Philadelphia got the ball back. You thought, gee, that's ball game. But then Philadelphia's offense did nothing. New England called their timeouts right. Brady got one more shot. Now, admittedly, it was a Hail Mary shot, but he still got one more shot at that end zone. Not quite the same finesse of the clock here at Australian level.
Well, no, they get to see the play clock and they get to see everything, so they can really run it down to seconds. So, but let's not take away from the officials. They do a fantastic job of managing this game.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a game. So they continue in that power stance. He's going to look to throw, I think. That one is incomplete. Good pressure from, I think it was Scott Muldoon, managing to get through. Forced the pass earlier than I think he wanted to go.
Yep. Highest scoring game of the Australian Gridiron League thus far, beats the 46-0 result last week. Victoria, I think, have kicked a field goal. It's 22-12 in favour of Queensland, 9 minutes left up in Brisbane.
It's the first time we've seen Gridiron Victoria back in the competition.
Yeah, the Eagles.
So they'll be pleased taking on the defending champs and it not blowing out.
Absolutely. I can remember 1987, if we get a chance, with his hurry-up offence, probably not. The tail of SA's first interstate game in Victoria. As the Wolfpack go to the air with a long one, that's incomplete. Flag on the play.
A late
This will
flag.
delay it a bit.
Are they saying pass interference? Because I don't think Henry Olsen's got away with that one. I think it's the same kind of coverage that we ran last time.
Yeah.
Just have a look at the replay. You try and keep an eye on it's exactly the same one. He's looking for the ball, but what is that other hand doing? And I don't think he got away with it that time.
From our angle, you're looking at that
penalty,
saying what
automatic
happened,
first
but
down.
obviously the side judge looking at it front on. Saw something with that hand. Yeah, the first interstate game, SA Victoria, was a curtain raiser to the Melbourne Bowl.
Right.
A college football game between Brigham Young and Colorado State back in 1987. It was due to be played at Princess Park. It was a home game of Colorado State. And I thought, well, why not have an interstate game with the local states? And SA was picked. And I'll tell you the rest of the story after this play. It's 1st and 10, New South Wales. Simpson,
mess.
the call. Got to the line of scrimmage. The organisers gave SA $5,000, and about a month out, Gridiron SA, or Saga as it was back then, realised they couldn't do it on $5,000, and the Breakers Club that I was involved with said, we'll go. We'll take 2 players from every other club, and we'll go and play the Vics. And it was huge. I was a 18-year-old water boy and statistician, and we went to Melbourne. There was a few problems that arose, though, along the way that we'll share if we get a chance. 2nd and 9.
South Australia looking like they are stacking the box somewhat now. Try and just cut down that run, force them into the air, which they do, and there's the pick. Henry Olsen making up for everything else, and now he's just trying to find the corner, get on the outside. Good yardage from the return, and he'll step out of bounds. Well, there's got to be a question about a flag.
No flag thrown by the umpiring vicinity, but how good is this for the Sharks? 1st and 10 inside the red zone.
Well, we talked about them needing to force New South Wales to pass. If we do get a footage, I think you'll probably see it on this one at the end of the play. I just wonder how far out of bounds Olsen is when he gets hit. Maybe the official's getting confused by the rugby lines. Close. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
So South Australia with a short field. Just inside the 20. 19 to go. Back to that formation. Single back. Well, there is a over the top to Burford. Burford will run out of 1 tackle. He'll get his 2nd touchdown of the day, and he will go down. I don't think he's praying. I think he got hit quite hard.
There has to be something of a subconscious reaction when that happened, because he was bumped and hit hard, and just his body knew that he was the wrong way, and he had to reverse and go for that end zone.
He is a durable young man.
Yeah, that was more like, that wasn't a quarterback throw, that was a volleyball spike.
Yeah, it's affectionately known as the Tebow.
The Tebow, yes, exactly right. Well, we got ourselves a ball game, 31 to 23, I think, at the moment. Extra point, low snap.
Good hold, he's got it up off the post.
Now that's big.
There's a lot of whistles though, we're looking for a flag.
That's big. It's an 8-point game. So South Australia, should they score next, would have to go for the 2-point to tie it.
Oh, now, have they got an onside kick in their arsenal? He got hit very hard, but Mitch Kirk just didn't stick it.
He went for the bump and not the wrap.
He did.
He thought if I bump him hard enough, he'll drop it. In the end, what he did was he helped straighten up Burford, who was basically running backwards towards the end zone, sent him off to the side so he could turn around and run to the end zone. So 2 touchdowns of quality to Burford. Plowman's not happy because he knows that was a big miss, albeit the snap was not the greatest. And now it's New South Wales 31-23.
Mitch Kirk on that one, he kind of it was almost like he was playing flag football. I expected him to be stood there with the flag up in the air.
Yep.
That's where I stopped him.
Yeah. Sometimes you think if I can just hit him hard enough, he'll bump it, but what you got to do in those scenarios is wrap him up. Anyway.
They will need a 3 and out. That
long
is a
kick.
Very good long kick. Backs him into the end zone. He's going to carry it. So if he gets there, it'll be about a 102-yard return. Tackle is made.
Only about 78 yards short of that. But yeah, good start for New South Wales, who suddenly, well, they were in a similar position to this against Western Australia. Now, it was a 1-point lead, but they had the ball about 4 or 5 minutes left, and they started to make some mental mistakes. They had an unsportsmanlike penalty, pushed them back. They had a quarterback run out of bounds to stop the clock. In the end, they had to kick to WA at a big return, got in field goal range. Interesting to see what they've learnt from that game. You always say you learn more from your losses than your wins. Let's see what the Wolfpack have picked up in the last 7 days.
Well, even in the last couple of series, you'd hope they will learn from the delay of game issues from before. Again, the box is stacked. Quarterback will get outside. We are back to Jordan Nikora. Looks like he'll get a couple of yard gain.
Injury down in Brisbane. Queensland have scored again. They look almost home. 7.5 minutes to go at East Rugby League Club, and could be a serious injury because someone there's on the phone. It is Queensland 28, Victoria 12.
Oh, there's not much movement over there.
No, they're on the phone ringing someone. Might be for the ambulance, I suspect. But right now here, we've got ourselves a ball game. You'd have to say the game of the season so far. Score is fine for mine. New South Wales 4 touchdowns, all fully converted, and a field goal. South Australia 3 touchdowns, 2 of those converters. We do have a timeout on the field. Just quickly, because I've got to get out of the way before the game gets interesting.
You're going to get through this story.
That Melbourne, well, because it was going back primetime states, the BYU Colorado game was at 12 noon.
Right.
Our game had to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. Princess Park, they put us down at Monash Uni. We were up at 5 in the morning, okay, to play this game, having travelled by bus. Gridiron players on 2 buses and the toilets in the back, I'll leave that to your imagination, but it wasn't good. The promoters went broke during the week. The marching band never turned up. The post-match function was cancelled. We got our breakfast at the game that was mouldy mandarins, and then we had to play football at 9 in the morning.
So the box is still stacked. New South Wales still at that power stance, and there's a reception, and that's not what they want to see. Big fella's getting his legs going. Henry Olsen manages to get back there and make the tackle. Well, this is exactly what we spoke about. It. We said they need to put the pressure on. They need the ball back. They need a 3-and-out.
Chris
Ravlich breaks a big one.
Chris Ravlich with the catch. And that is a big turning point. It's a game that's had momentum going back and forth. Again, a foot race.
So this is interesting. So they went with Nikora for a couple of plays. We're now back to Voina. Swapping the QBs around a fair bit.
They are. So Ravlich has got them towards that red zone, just inside the 20, I think. 1st and 10 from the 17. 8-point lead. This time to the ground they go. Voyner escapes, but batted down by Darren Lake.
The Viking.
The Viking. So the 5 o'clock wake-up call, got there and had mouldy mandarins for our pre-game. We led Victoria by 8, then our centre, our long snapper, got ejected by those Victorian officials. Victoria won by 8 points because we couldn't punt anymore on turnovers. We watched the game, and then our after party was cancelled. That was what we were all waiting for. The after party, to party with the Colorado State boys, because you wouldn't party with the BYU boys, and you know BYU, you'd understand why.
New South Wales with a quick pass. Henry Olsen again in the thick of it. Jeez, he's had his name called today.
Did indeed. So we had nothing to eat, nothing to drink. We lost, but I can tell you, mate, it was one of the greatest weekends of my life, travelling with the team.
Just as we kind of reached the autumn of this broadcast.
Yep.
Just need to I want to make some special mention.
Absolutely.
I need to make mention of Andrew Stevens, who's the president of Gridiron South Australia, and the amount of work that he's put in to this to get things going. Also, Hugh Stevens, again, their relationship, who I think must have been in a sauna for the last couple of days because he's looking incredibly vascular. He's cut down for this, but he's put a huge amount of work. All the uniforms organised by Hugh, as again they go out the power stance and they're going to try and get on the outside. Good tackle by Sam Myers.
Yeah, good work there, John Barron, and come in to help the work initially done by Sam Myers. It's good defensive to tackle Arjiman.
But all of the support staff for the
Guys,
Sharks
sign
put
out
a
South
huge amount of
Australia, that
effort
is
in.
their
And
second.
this will be a tough day for the Water Boys and
Yes,
everybody
indeed.
else.
Yes, I learned early on.
There's
I started in
1:42
this league when I was
remaining in the game.
15.
1:42.
It was water boy or stats. Now, water boys got you closer to the cheerleaders, admittedly, but stats kept you under the shade. And so,
We've been lucky to be under the shade, although the sun is starting to drop behind us.
4th down, and I think this is where New South Wales are going for the game. From there, about a 35-yard field goal, which they've kicked before. I'm just trying to see if they're showing field goal.
It's looking like a field goal.
Yes, they are.
38. Aaron McAvoy is lining up.
He's been perfect today, McAvoy.
So it will be a field goal.
35 yards.
No one back for South Australia, just in case it goes short. It shouldn't go short, though. This is well within his range. And it's a fake. And it's thrown away. That's a result-ish. I can't see any flags. Unfortunately, the play goes down that end of the field. We are covered by the shade for the South Australians. Well, was it a fake or just a bad snap? And
Yeah.
what's his name? Where is he? Joey Donaghy?
Well, Donaghy is a left-hander, so he's rolling out to the correct side for a left-hander. You wouldn't want to be rolling out that way if you're right-handed. But the bottom line was, and I'll just look at the replay again, I could not see a receiver for him. If you're going to do that, he had the time, had a little bit of space, but didn't have anyone to throw to.
Now there's some discussion here. I think Daniel Pearson went off, number 59. I think possibly some issue with. So the pitch is getting ready for rugby season. It's had Gridiron on it all summer, up until the juniors. The junior grand final was last week, so it's had a lot of wear and tear. It's sandy, and there is a flag. We can see the flag. See whether we can find out what it's for.
Personal foul.
Personal
roughing
foul.
the snapper, number 31. That penalty will be enforced half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Roughing the snapper.
Oh, the centre who snapped the ball.
You've got to kind of leave him
That's
alone
huge.
for a second.
Yeah, that's huge.
So if we have a look at the replay, well, that's
Interesting.
make of that what you will.
Yeah, Dave, as our officials expert, this is where I throw to you.
Yeah, the flag's been thrown, so
Officials are always right.
if I have my officials hat on, then yes, it's perfect. If I have my South Australian hat on, I think it's a bit
1:29 remaining.
harsh. If I have my New
1:29.
South Wales hat on, it's a great call.
I can see the conflict going on
So
in your
many
mind.
hats, I'm wearing too many hats.
Bottom line, 1st and goal, New South Wales. That's a big turnaround.
You would think you're going to see a lot of run now and just run down the clock.
And there, I reckon, is your game winner. Godfrey Arjiman has broken through for an untouched touchdown. That makes the margin 14 with the conversion to come. And I think the Wolfpack will keep their undefeated record in Adelaide alive and claim their first win of the Australian Gridiron League season.
Just a really nice kick-out block. I mean, if I get to see it again, see whether they pull anybody. It's just a really nice kick-out block. Yeah, so the guy in the white helmet didn't get a number.
Yeah.
Just, you know, and as a running back, that's what you want to see, a big wide open
It
door
just
for you.
opened beautifully and all he could see was end zone. So now McAvoy, who was denied the field goal opportunity, we think on a planned fake.
At least it doesn't go on his record,
No.
so he can stay at 100%.
Chance to go 5 for 5. And it's good.
I think what's important now for South Australia is they need to keep their heads up.
Yeah.
Now start to plan for the training for this week before your trip to Queensland.
Yeah, and Queensland is not going to be an easy game.
You can't drop your heads. There's some positives to come out of it. Just couldn't get the offense firing, unfortunately, for the Sharks. New South Wales, businesslike. I don't think we
1
saw a
minute,
different
12 seconds
formation
remaining.
from them all day. Saw them out of that power formation all day.
It's always the challenge when you put this team together. And let's remember, if you start, even if you have 2 months, that's 8 practices to put together an offensive scheme. Because every club will do it a little bit differently unless you've got really good overall structures in your competition. And so, you know, you can try all these wonderful things, but at the end of the day, basic stuff that works will win you these type of games.
That is a booming kick. And a touchback, which we don't see many of.
What? What's this waving the arm
have
side
no
to
idea.
side?
But we don't see many of them, but there was a touchback there. The other interesting wrinkle, I think, with regards to this, I don't know about New South Wales, but Drew Aiken certainly coaches the South City Chiefs. He now has a squad of players from all 5 teams. He can't really show his hand for what he wants to do playbook-wise with the Chiefs. You have to develop a whole new playbook.
Yeah. And to be fair, this isn't a Chiefs offense that we've seen as Tedmondson is about to get wrapped up like a Mother's Day present. And that is James McLean-Horton, who brings the sack.
They are definitely going into the hurry up now, but that's another sack. Those sack numbers are going up for Tedmondson.
Yeah, they're going to battle it right to the final down. That's what you want to see, Dave.
It's a little bit of a personnel issue. James Rennie getting in there late. And he will get it. And he'll step out of bounds.
And he'll probably stay on the sidelines. He's going to be exhausted. He's run onto the field. He's caught the pass. And Adam Blue there on the tackle for the Wolfpack.
But, you know, you can say worked well because he had very little time to think.
I was about to say.
Thinking gets in the way of a lot of things.
49 seconds remaining.
How did he know it was coming to him? He wasn't in the huddle for the play.
And he's still running around. He's still
It's not like
not really settled.
It's not like Teddy can point to him and say it's coming your way.
So snap again, good rush, manages to step out and will dump it off to Nolte. Nolte will drag the first one a couple of yards to get himself probably a 5 or 6 yard gain.
Charge timeout, South Australia. That is their
Just
third
having a look at this
and
New
final
South Wales
timeout for the
Victoria game, and if I've still got the live feed, there's still an injured Victorian down on the field. So we're going to finish first.
Well, we hope that he is okay.
So depending on flight time, I think may well depend on whether they say it's a game or not. We've certainly played enough, and Queensland clear leaders to call it if they need to up there. Obviously hope everything's going to be right with the Eagles player. 4th down for the Sharks, and Dave, in this scenario, trailing by 15, final minutes, you've got to go for it.
Go for it.
They've got a timeout. A reminder, next week, South Australia off to Queensland, play the Sun Devils. That'll be live streamed 12:30 Queensland time, 12 o'clock in Adelaide. New South Wales Wolfpack get the week off. The other game will be 2 p.m. Perth time, so it's almost a double header of Australian Gridiron League action, Western Australia versus Victoria.
Oh, flea flicker.
And
well,
long.
they've gone deep in it. Benjamin with the receiver all over him, and there's got to be a flag. There is a flag. Cornerback was all over him. So, break off a big one, not the way you would have drawn it up in the mud, but they've got decent yardage, so they can make the score a little bit more acceptable.
They can make it interesting because this is now, based on that throw, if the penalty is at about the 35, that's where the flag was thrown, then I think you're looking at, although we wait on the call.
So lineman had his leg fallen on, which is what the injury is there.
Okay.
So the old roll-up.
2 fouls on the play.
Which is not.
Eligible man downfield.
Oh, and the flag is against South Australia.
Was on the line and was covered by the wide receiver.
New South, and there's a flag against New South Wales.
Those penalties
from
offset.
that because it's a long one.
4th down.
Penalties offset.
Yeah, but he was covered by
the
the
penalties were offset, whatever they were. So it's 2 big ones.
Yeah,
so if it wasn't for the pass interference penalty, New South Wales would have the ball back now. Because SA had, I think, too many players are illegal downfield.
There are 8 seconds left. The clock starts on the snap. All right. Clock starts on the snap. There are 8 seconds left.
Got themselves in pole position, had the guns loaded, and then promptly shot themselves in the foot.
I think ambulances arrived in Queensland. We could be down to our final play or 2 here.
Tedmondson, one in the backfield. Nolte. Again, he's rushed out the pocket, and again he goes down.
Relax. He
looked a little bit. I thought he had a little bit of an injury as he went down, but
Gordy did time
possibly just upset at getting sacked again.
Talk to me, I can't hear you.
So we're just trying to work out if that might be it.
Right, okay.
We don't have a time indication.
What's the result? The result of the play is a sack. So
there's
the ball's dead there.
About something.
Okay, you wanted to
being well, that was a 4th down sack.
Okay. We have 5 in the backfield.
So it's a 4th down sack. Unless it's a penalty, it's a turnover.
Illegal formation offence, 5 in the backfield. That penalty is declined.
Yeah.
Result of the play is a turnover.
New South Wales
3
ball.
seconds remaining.
So false start.
Declined.
Timeouts declined. I think they'll probably kneel this game out. Do they? Don't know whether there's any timeouts left. I haven't been counting it. The other thing is will Drew take the timeouts or will they let them kneel it out?
I think South Australia have used all of theirs.
Yeah.
But I don't believe, well, I think in the spirit of the game, with the result concluded, you would say this is probably a kneel-down situation. Again, we don't have the exact time, but I do believe it's in the seconds rather than the minutes.
Do you know what? I'm going to give our timekeeping crew the benefit of the doubt. We're down to 1 second, and I think this is it. Our timekeeping crew has worked very, very hard today, as is our down and distance crew. Of course, David Muggleton from Space Quake Sports directing today, and as usual, doing a tip-top job.
Keeping us all in lines, and rightfully so. New South Wales take the victory formation and take the victory back to Sydney. They are 1-1. The Sharks dropped to 0-2, but a chalk and cheese effort from South Australia today compared with last week. And they can take some positives out of the match. Final score, Australian Gridiron League Week 2, New South Wales Wolfpack 38, South Australian Sharks 23.
You've got to question whether that's a tougher day in the office than a blowout loss in Victoria, because there were times that they were in that game and there was things that they could have done to get on the top, to get on top and to start moving on. Just never seemed to put a drive together, never seemed to get their defence. Got into the game and shut the New South Wales running game down to an extent in the second half, but you're asking a big ask for the amount of time that New South Wales are on the field. New South Wales point of view, great day at the office. They did everything they needed to do. They did fantastically with regards to just grinding out the yards, going to the air when they need to, just short and picking off passes. New South Wales, well deserved on this one, you would say.
Yep, and that's having gone winless in their 3 games last year. The Wolfpack will be glad to be back on the winners board. For the Sharks, well, they now focus on facing up to Queensland next week. It was probably a game, Dave, to summarise. I always thought the Wolfpack had South Australia's measure, but South Australia just kept themselves in the contest with the occasional explosive play.
And that just gives you an idea of the numbers that these teams are travelling with. That is almost stretching from sideline to sideline for this handshake line. And excellent effort, because remember, ladies and gentlemen, all of these people have to go to work on Monday morning. Yep. Some of them have to go to work tonight. I know that for a fact. So
some of them will be on a plane, hopefully, because this is the one thing you don't get with these that you get with a week-long carnival. Hopefully there'll be a chance post-match they get changed, hopefully have a drink together and see out the day as we are about to see out the day ourselves. Dave, it has been fantastic calling a game with you. Hopefully they'll bring us back in a couple of weeks.
So from Riverside Oval in Port Adelaide, thank you very much for spending your time with us. Maybe pop over to the Queensland game. There is an ambulance there now. Go and see the end of that one. Thank you very much for spending your time. New South Wales taking this one 38 points to 23 over South Australia. We will speak to you again on the 5th of May. Make sure you keep an eye on the Australian Gridiron League and the Gridiron Australia Facebook page for all the details of upcoming broadcasts. From me, Dave Webb, and the wonderful Phil Herden. Thank you very much, and good night.